And y'all, so we are talking about God today, specifically the Christian God. So if you think that the Christian God is real, I want you to hop in those guest requests and prove me wrong. We are going to pull up our first guest here really shortly. I also want to put it out there that I know this topic is a little problematic, but you know what? We're going to have some fun with it. Make sure, if you're just coming into the live, make sure to say hi in the chat. It is so good to see you all. We have three guests here. We are going to go ahead and let our first guest up as they come. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and talk. Also, make sure that we're double tapping away.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's...
Hey, what's going on? How old are you? What did you say? Oh, he said something. I don't know what he said. We're going to go to move on to our next guest, Bree, at this point, y'all. Make sure that we're double tapping away, ladies and gentlemen. It's so good to see you all. We just went live. Let's go to get our first guest of the night up in here. We're going to try to load right in here. Make sure if we are in the guest request that we are at least 18 and we do think that the Christian God is real, y'all. Y'all already know how it goes. What's up, Martina? What's up, Boza and Caro and Christina? This is your favorite topic. Yeah, it's a fun one for me. I guess I just haven't ran it in a while. But so good to see all of your pretty faces in chat. What's up, Reed? How old are you?
I'm 18.
Yeah, perfect. Do you think that the Christian God is real?
Yes.
Okay, I don't. Prove me wrong. Wow! Best argument I've ever heard. Best argument I've ever heard. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a true intellectual in the chat. Moving on. Dude, all right. Hey, Lewis, what's up? How old are you?
I'm 19.
Nice. Do you think that the Christian God is real?
Say that again?
Do you think that the Christian God is real?
Yeah.
Awesome. Could you go ahead and give me an argument that demonstrates that the Christian God is
So
real?
what I'm thinking is right. Since in the Bible, yeah, God said faggots aren't accepted, right?
That was pretty gross. Let's go ahead and get some baby bottles in the chat for that guy. I apologize. That was real gross. What's going on, Beanie? How old are you?
I didn't mean to connect.
No worries. All right, all 800 of y'all, y'all just got to give us a second and load our first guest up in here. It does typically take a minute or two to kind of get the debates going. Tracy, thank you so much for the $5 on Venmo. And Leela, thank you so much for the Galaxy. W Leela, W Tracy, y'all. What's going on, Molly? How old are you?
What up? I'm 19.
Perfect. Do you think that the Christian God is real?
Yeah.
All right, why so?
Because he just ate me out last Tuesday.
Oh my God. Chat, I can't with y'all. Here, I'm gonna go in and put a quick poll in that comment section. Yeah, we need to get this live on the For You page. Everyone in here is a supporter, and y'all are just unserious as all hell. So let's get that quick poll going, and make sure to hop in those guest requests if you do indeed think that the Christian God is real. We're having some issues getting some debates going right now. But what's up, Kat? How old are you?
I'm 18.
Perfect. Do you think that the Christian God is real?
Yeah.
Okay, why so?
Wait, can I say something really quick?
I mean, I'm running a topic about the Christian God right now, and I just want to see if you could give me an argument that proves he's real.
This is about God. Why did God make you so handsome?
God damn it, Kat. That was pretty good, but I'm moving the fuck on. All right, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. What's up, George? How old are you?
26.
36. Sweet. Do you think that the Christian God is real?
Oh, you're breaking up. I'm gonna leave.
Okay, guys, everyone, just be patient and bear with us here, y'all. It looks like we don't, have that many people in the guest requests, and maybe our live is not sending out to people in the For You page. What's up, Leaf? How old are you?
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was spam tapping.
No worries. I appreciate you for liking the live. Oops, did not mean to big screener. All right, y'all, seriously, make sure that we're double tapping on that phone screen. Make sure that we're spamming that comment section and sharing out that live with a couple people. We need to try to get this live pushed out to the For You page, ladies and gentlemen. What's up? Hey, do you think that the Christian God is real?
I do.
All right, why so, sir?
We could break it down. Just to start it so we can go counter for counter, I'll just say life itself exists, and I believe everything has a creator. What is your counter for that?
Okay, so you're just saying that you believe that the universe has a creator, but you just simply have to give me an argument for that. Because you can't just make that statement and then believe in a God without any reason. So maybe
Right.
if you could give me some reason that the universe has a creator.
Right. Okay. So the reason why, well, logically, if we're thinking logically, everything that we know of has a creator. Besides the evolution standpoint, I would say everything that we know of life has there's a beginning point to something. Like you can create a
No,
book or
we don't know that that trees have a creator. We don't know that humans have a creator. We don't know if planetary bodies have a creator. We don't know if anything natural has a creator. So I just reject that. Right? Very
right.
very
Oh, okay.
straight
So
up.
you don't believe in the evolution theory.
I do believe in evolution.
Oh, so you do believe in evolution.
Yes.
Okay. So you're like more like agnostic atheist type or naturalist. You lean more towards that side. Like what do you lean more towards the most?
I'm an agnostic, but I think the point here is just making the assumption that everything has a creator, therefore you're a Christian, is really illogical. I mean,
No.
why can't I just assume that everything has a creator and Stewie Griffin was actually the creator of the universe, and he did so through temporal time loop, and when we all die, we go to Family Guy heaven. I have some questions about the Christian God here.
All right, that's
that
fine.
I might be able to run by you. Yeah, do you think that ethnic cleansing is wrong in all scenarios?
Wait, hold on. You said that fast. You said ethnic cleanliness is what? Is what?
Yeah, do you think that ethnic cleansing is always wrong?
Ethnic cleansing. You're gonna have to break that down for me.
Yeah, that's just the genocide of a group of people because of their ethnicity.
Okay. Do I think that's wrong?
Always wrong.
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Okay, so then you don't think that the Christian God exists because in 1 Samuel 15:3 of the Christian Bible, God commands ethnic cleansing, and if God commanded something wrong, that means he's not all good, which would be contrary to the Christian God.
Which people are you referring to?
The Amalekites.
Okay, right. Okay, so the reason why I said no because that's the logical answer as a human. I would say I'm not God. I don't go by his standpoint, his rules. I live in logic. I'm a human being. So the reason that's why I said no because who am I to really?
Where does moral right and wrongs come from?
Where does moral right or wrongs come from? I would say our conscience.
Okay, so you don't think that morality is extends from your creator? Like the Bible, when it says that like murdering is a sin,
Right.
like it's possible that the Bible's wrong.
About murder?
Yeah, because remember, if right and wrong doesn't come from God, it doesn't really matter if God says that murder's wrong.
Oh, I thought you meant, okay, that's what you meant by where does it come from? I thought you meant like, in our standpoint, where does it come from? That's why
What
I said,
dictates what's morally right and wrong?
I mean, our understanding and knowing for right and wrong. I mean, you're saying did right and wrong come from us?
What is this standard of morality?
I mean,
If you're a Christian, it should be God.
I mean, no. I mean, it all came from the beginning when they had freedom of choice. Where
Okay, so does God
and then they
determine
go
what is
get
good and bad, or does God not determine what is good and bad?
He does.
Okay, so then you do think that the standard for morality is God. I don't understand why you have to do these mental gymnastics, sir. So it doesn't really matter if you think that like ethnic cleansing is always wrong if God disagrees with you. Well,
Right.
this means that he's right and you're actually incorrect. So
No,
would you
no,
say
but-
that you're
so you're
delusional
saying-
for
so you're
thinking
de-
that?
so you're
One
denying
second,
that
sir.
it come from
Would
both?
you? One second, sir. Would you say that you're delusional for thinking that ethnic cleansing and genocide is always wrong?
Would I say that it would be? Am I delusional? The ethnic?
Yeah, because
no.
remember, God disagrees with you, and He's the standard for morality.
No, but my question was, so it can't be both?
Yeah, it can't be both under the Christian worldview.
So-
Correct.
Wait. But I think people tend to realize we have to separate Christ and the religion and Christians as two separate things. Like
This
people have
doesn't do
paid for-
anything for our argument. Can we stay on topic?
I mean, we are staying on topic though, because you just said that in our Christian view. I mean, can we also agree that there's toxic Christians who disguise them being a bad person and
Here.
still classifying to be a Christian though?
I'm going to go ahead and give you my argument, and let's see if you could actually track it. So I asked you if you think ethnic cleansing is always morally wrong. You
Right, and I
said
answered.
yes.
Right.
And then I said, well, this means you're not a Christian because
Right.
the Christian God is being described as all good, but yet the Christian God commanded ethnic cleansing in 1 Samuel 15:3, which according to you is always wrong. And
Right.
that
Okay.
is-
So I'm gonna.
that's a contradiction right there. And then
Right.
you tried to respond to this by saying that, well, you know, what you think is right and wrong is different from what God thinks is right and wrong. But
Right.
I addressed this very simplistically because
Right.
remember, God, under your worldview, is the standard of morality. And if
Right.
you disagree with that standard, well, you're just delusional. That's
Right,
a,
okay,
that's
so
a
the
belief that you
ethnic
hold that's
cleansing-
not acquainted with reality.
Is that your only point? Like, are we forgetting the other side of the coin to where, like, say there was a group of people or like a a country of people who were completely evil, right? And they did evil things. There was no good at all. So do you believe that they still deserve to have the same, rights as people who are just regular people who do good and either do bad? Like, say there's a group of evil people, straight evil people. You think they don't deserve to be punished, is what you're saying, right?
No,
you just said,
that's a red herring, sir. So first point,
Right.
if you're just going to say it was justified because they were all evil, well,
no,
then
I didn't say. I
you're-
was just asking you a question.
Okay, sir. So if you're going to say it was actually good for God to ethnically cleanse them because they're all evil, well, then this just means that you actually don't think that ethnic cleansing is always wrong. That's the
Right.
first point.
I understand
Second
that.
point,
That's
God also commanded the slaughter of the infants and the babies. Could you
Right.
please explain to me how the infants and the babies were evil?
Right? Can you please give me the verse where he commanded the massacre of infants, please? Can you please give me that?
1 Samuel 15:3, God says to Saul, "Now go and gather your men and slaughter the Amalekites, but spare them not. But spare them not, unalive, man, woman, infant, suckling, child, ox, sheep, camel, and ass."
Right. Okay. So I get your point. You have a good point. You can ask somebody, or do you believe this is right? Like I said before, who am I to really judge if that's a right decision or really not a right decision? Anybody who lives in logic would say, no, that's not right. You know what I'm saying? But
Well, actually, no.
But
In
we can't
accordance with
also say-
logic,
wait,
you'd have to say it was right.
wait,
Because
but
if
we
your God
can't-
is a standard for morality and your God's always good and he commanded it,
Right.
well, it'd actually be logically necessary that it was good. Because if
Right.
it was not to be good, well, then we'd have a contradiction in the sense that your all good God would be doing something wrong, which would be incompatible with his nature. So
Right.
if you live in logic, yeah, you'll just have to say that genocide is sometimes okay.
I mean, we all
So-
live in logic, though. I mean, because we're human, we all live in logic. But I was saying, like,
That's
what
a
if,
really- that's
okay,
just
so say
completely
the
irrelevant to
first,
the point.
because we believe we can all agree that information that's tangible that we can absorb or learn about or study about is all first hand, second hand, third hand, fourth hand, whatever hand information, right? Like, if we don't know something and we learn about it, it's passed on information, right? So who is to say, just because it's always we don't know, right? So what if the first Bible that was ever written, like the first one, who are we to say, like, that's really how that scripture was? Because I'll agree with anybody that if they have an argument where, like, do you believe that the Bible is tainted? I'll agree, yes. So do you believe that was the original scripture that was originally written inside the first Bible?
So if you're skeptical about accepting 1 Samuel 15:3 because you're saying it's possible that the text was tainted,
Right.
why can't I be skeptical of accepting the entirety of the New Testament where it says Jesus is God and he resurrected from the dead because it's
Right.
possible it was tainted?
Right.
All of a sudden, it seems justified to not be a Christian because you seem to recognize that it's very possible the text has changed.
Right. And I just want to classify something. Okay, if we're gonna, like, summarize it, basically I'm Christian, but the whole Christian thing was man-made, and that's like I'm a believer in Christ. Same belief.
That's what
system,
that's what the
basically.
definition
But-
of a Christian
No, I
is,
got
sir.
you. I got you. But I'm just not the Christians that you guys hate. I mean, just like how anybody has a freedom.
I don't
to say
hate
what they
Christians.
believe in. No. Oh, my fault. That was not you guys, but people in the chat or whatever. Like you know what I mean. Like, there's people who just despise Christian, and we can all agree that that's real. So I'm saying I'm not that type of. I'm just a believer in Christ. I don't classify as like Christian. I'm a believer in Christ. It's like the same belief, tomato, tomato. But if you want to summarize that as
I mean,
Christian,
the reason that some people despise Christians is
Right.
because some Christians despise minority groups such as the
Exactly,
LGBTQ
yes, I agree.
community,
I agree.
etc. But this is
I agree.
completely irrelevant to the point here, sir.
right? I was just
So-
letting that be known.
Yeah. So do you would you hold to the claim that ethnic cleansing is wrong in all scenarios, or now you do think that it's sometimes okay because there is one scenario of your God commanding it?
I mean, like I said, I already initially told you no, but it could be fair and just. It could not be. Yeah, life is. It could be harsh where if a whole group of people is evil and then their kids.
Okay,
have to
so
be
ethnic
poor,
cleansing is
that's-
not always wrong. I have a question. Do you think that two women engaging in intercourse is always wrong?
No. Who am I to say? Who am I to say if that's wrong or not?
You're
You're getting me-
honestly,
you're get- you're
dude.
getting me- you're
How
getting
the
me-
fuck are you gonna bite the
you're getting me-
bullet? How the fuck are you gonna
wait,
bite the
wait,
bullet
wait,
about
wait,
ethnic cleansing?
wait, let me finish, let me
One
finish.
second.
Let me
No, I
finish.
have a
I'll
real
say-
ass question. How
Okay,
are you
but-
gonna bite the bullet about ethnic cleansing
Right.
and you'll say that sometimes ethnic cleansing is okay?
I didn't say that though.
But then you won't bite the bullet on like being a for
You're
personally.
assuming.
I like that answer, but it is just interesting given
But
your
you're
prior.
assuming, but
like-
you're adding on to you're basically like, this is basically what you're saying, but we can't go off of basically. I simply told you no. You're just saying basically. You just asked me, do I believe that two women having intercourse is wrong? I told you no. Who you're asking me questions that somebody who has set rules should answer. I didn't make the rules. You know what I'm saying? Like, who am I to say that's
I'll
wrong?
go ahead and give you my point once again.
Right.
I actually like that answer. That's very good. Like low key, let's get a guest W in the chat for that. But my point here is,
Right.
you're willing to say that sometimes genocide and ethnic cleansing is okay because the Bible says so,
I
but you're
didn't
not
say
willing to
that.
say that being a lesbian is wrong,
Listen.
even though the Bible says so. But like, good. I'm glad you don't say that being a lesbian is wrong. But
Listen,
now
if
you
it-
should
if
take the
it's
second
written-
step.
if
And
it's
one
written-
second, stop. Now you should take the second step and also say that no, genocide and ethnic cleansing are not sometimes okay. It also just sounds like you're disregarding the Bible. Like, so do you want to give me any evidence that Jesus is God?
I think you should have asked me a better question was, do I believe it's a sin? Yes, I believe it's a sin. I don't believe it's like, I can't say that something is wrong. You're asking me questions that somebody would have to give a verdict to.
I take it back. Stop spamming W guests. Jeez, fucking hell.
What do you mean?
Oh my God.
So those are
What
not
does it mean
double-
for some? What
those
does
are
it
not-
mean for an action to be morally wrong?
Wait,
Does it
those are
mean
not
that it's a
double sword
sin?
questions. Those are not double. How could? Who am I to answer yes? Okay, that's a trick question because in my belief system, right? In my belief system, is
Hey,
it?
sir,
am
what
I
does it mean
wrong?
for something to be morally wrong? Does it
Okay,
mean that
look,
it's a
look,
sin?
look. In my belief system,
I'm
that
just
that
speaking right past you.
What?
What does it mean for something to be morally wrong? Does it just mean that it's a sin?
No, we would have to. It would have to be either. It would have to be both. We would have to use our conscience to know because we know good and evil, and we.
So something can be like evil while not being a sin, or like something could be good while being a sin.
Okay, give me an example. Since that's
I don't think there is any examples under the Christian worldview. If something is evil, it is a sin, and
Right.
if something is a sin, it is evil. So,
Right.
like when you say that being a lesbian is not wrong, is not evil, but it is a sin, it just seems like you're being inconsistent with like Christian theology.
Right. Okay.
But like, I mean, at least
if I
you
caught-
don't.
If I caught, okay, that's
I
why
don't
I said
know.
you're giving me double.
is a rough
you're,
one.
you're giving me questions that you know I'm not allowed to answer. I'll give you an example. If I
don't
see two
think so.
lesbians having sex, I wouldn't say you're wrong. If they ask me if do I think it's a sin, I would say yes. That's
Hey,
it's
so why is
Who
being
am
a
I to say
lesbian a
what
sin?
somebody else's
So
sin is wrong?
which verse in the Bible tells us that being a lesbian is a sin?
that specific sentence that you just asked me just now.
Which verse in the Bible tells us that being a lesbian is a sin?
Obviously not, but it's spoken about where
Where?
in the Bible about
Yeah,
where
where?
two of the same sex can't
Where does
Can,
it say that? Where does it say that's wrong?
honestly I can't give you off the top of my head, honestly.
Okay, so then why are you making that claim?
No, I'm not making that claim. I've learned about it in the Bible. I've learned about it in church. I'm learning about it in school. I've read the Bible with my pops, but I've just simply
Hey,
told you, I
preachers in
can't
the
give you-
70s said that God thinks interracial marriage is wrong. It didn't say that anywhere in the Bible.
I mean, that's
so why
he's
should I
that's
accept your claim now?
a lot of these things that you're claiming. There's been a lot of toxic Christians that are just like,
Yeah, so how do you know
brainwashed.
it's not just toxic Christians that say being lesbian is wrong in the churches? If you can't cite scripture, well, then it seems like you don't.
I mean,
have
I'm
any
on
reason
my
why it
phone
couldn't
right.
be that.
The only reason why I said I couldn't do it is because I'm on my phone right now and I can't like search it up and tell you. But I mean, it's talked about in the Bible.
Yeah, do you think that slavery has always been wrong?
Yes.
Okay, so when God says that it,
But
wasn't-
wait, before you continue, but that's also a tricky thing because look,
boy,
we
can I
classify-
talk?
Wait, what? I can't finish.
You interrupted me, but I'll let you finish. Go for it.
Okay, but we also have to take into account that back then, being a slave was also a job. No, I'm gonna say this right and loud and clear because a lot of people are gonna try to, because I know how this works. No, I think slavery is wrong.
Oh, hey, one second.
But listen, we have to be
one
careful
second.
because that was also a job back in those
Wait,
times.
Kurt, 1 second. I wanted to address a few comments. When
Right.
I just said, boy, will you let me talk? I wasn't referring to him as boy. I thought I'd make that clear. It was more like oh boy, will you let me talk? Like it wasn't like referencing him as boy. It was like the colloquial use of the phrase like oh boy. I just thought I'd let y'all know. I get the misconception.
Nah, you good. I ain't
take
take no offense, man. I ain't take no offense. You're good.
I just wanted to make that clear.
I didn't even really notice, for real. You good?
No, go ahead, sir.
No, you good. You can bring your argument.
Yeah. So you said that slavery has always been wrong.
Yeah,
The
but you
Christian
got to remember that it was also a job back in those times, also, and it's not the same classification that we have of a slave, like slavery today.
This is why I
wasn't
wanna be
the
able to
same thing
talk.
back then.
This is why I want to. Sir, you have to wait your turn.
Oh, I got you. I'll mute myself. No problem.
I appreciate you. So in Leviticus 25, verses 44 through 46 of the Christian Bible, God says that chattel slavery is okay. So he specifically says that if you were an Israelite, you could own a non-Israelite as human property for the entirety of their lives. He even went so far as to say that if the master were to die, that the slave could be passed down as property to the child of the master. Then additionally, in Exodus 21, verses 20 through 21, God said that the masters could beat their slaves as long as they recovered a couple days as they were property. So when you specifically say that slavery's always been wrong, it seems like you disagree with God, because God specifically said that these actions were morally permissible.
Wait, is that from King James?
This is going to be present in the KJV. This is going to be present in the NIV. This is going to be present in all English translations of the Bible due to the fact that it's present in the original Hebrew text of the Old Testament.
Well, how do we know that?
Well, how do we know that? Because we have scholars who could speak Hebrew. I personally have a friend named Matt who speaks Hebrew, who is a Bible scholar that we could get up here. But I mean, this is completely irrelevant to the point because, I mean, you seem to have accepted my argument on the basis of 1 Samuel 15:3 that it was talking about slavery. You seem to accept the fact that the New Testament, you seem to accept the fact that the New Testament, when it says Jesus is God, is correct, even though you don't know how to speak Hebrew. There's also people in the chat right now, such as my friend Justin, that speak Hebrew themselves that could read that off to you. So don't make some like silly argument that, I don't know Hebrew, therefore we cannot be for sure. Well, we both don't know Hebrew, therefore wouldn't this mean that we can't be sure about like anything that the Bible says?
Wait. When did I say that? When did I say you don't know? Wait, it was the
anticipation of the argument. I cut you off before you were able to make it. If that's not the argument that you were going to make, my apologies, but I guess I'll go ahead and let you continue.
Yeah, come on, man. We gotta we can't do basically or like this is what you're like. What I'm saying is what I'm saying, not like something else. Like I'm not doing codes, like you know what I'm saying. So, okay, so I'll say this, right? So you said that like you have a friend that speaks Hebrew and then like scholars and we have scholars. Let me ask you a question. Do you believe that in today's worldview, in today's time, that humanity depends on the status of people or like somebody? I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. I'll break it down. Okay, say that.
What is the relevance? You're not responding to my objections.
So if you're asking me something, I don't ask you like the relevance. If I say something, it's to help my argument with you. You know what I'm saying? Like if you don't like what I say, okay, that's cool, but we're having a debate. You know, that's how debates work. If you don't like what I say or a point that I bring up that might help my argument, that's cool. But you can shit on me later. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not trying to like, even if you feel
wait 1 second, Kurt. I apologize for cutting you off on this. There's like people still in the chat, such as Snake Pliskin.
Right.
They said, Dean, with everything going on, you would really say boy as like referencing to him as a racist
no,
term?
You're good.
I'm not going to buy that.
Disregard that. You're good. You're good.
I just wanted to respond to the people watching. No, it was just a term of exacerbation. I was like, oh boy, can you let me talk? I think that like if you make a claim that I was calling him boy because of his race, like you're just reaching for fucking straws. Like I get it because there's a lot of drama going on in the community right now, and there is a lot of like debates for the next week on this account. We also have all of our other accounts back except for our main now, so we have a couple accounts that we could kind of bounce in between, but it's all about what will just kind of get us out into the algorithm. So for everyone coming in, I know that you guys are all going to be friendlies here. This account, first sends out right to the minuscule amount of followers we have on here. We just need to kind of build this live up and get it on the For You page so we can get people that disagree in. You know what I mean? So if you want to help out here, make sure that we're double tapping like all hell, sharing the live like all hell, commenting like all hell. And Maze, thank you for the You're Amazing. I love you so much, Maze. Absolute W Maze in the comment section. Thank you for the You're Amazing. But yeah, just make sure we're kind of doing all the things to get the live to send out. It may kind of take a while to get the debates going, I'm not going to lie. But we happen to have a guest request. I guess we'll go ahead and see real quick if we are on the guest request. Make sure that we think being a lesbian is wrong. Wani?
You feeling okay, man?
Wani?
Yo,
Wani.
I've been reading up on the baby bump.
Okay, bye, Wani. But Wani's always around, guys. Make sure if we're in the guest request, we think being a lesbian is wrong, and make sure we're at least 18. What's up, Jesse? Okay, they're screaming like a ferret. Leela, thank you so much for the You're Amazing. I appreciate you for the love. W Leela, did I see the older millennial apology video? I didn't. Is that like just posted? Yeah, guys, feel free to ask some questions in the chat before we get some debates going. I'm not gonna lie, it's probably gonna take a while, so we could do a little bit of a Q&A in the meantime. The great, I appreciate you for sharing the live. No apology good enough? Yeah, no, that apology's not gonna happen. I don't really care what he has to say about that. Like, you can't just apologize for like saying that you want to genocide mentally disabled people. Like, that's not something that you could just apologize for. I don't know. Awesome. Let's go into what our next guest has to say. They're loading up in here. They're loading up in here, chat. Give them a minute. By the way, if you're watching the live and you think that being a lesbian is wrong, hop in those guest requests. You know, we got a little bit of a slow send out here today because we're on the 4th account, but that was expected in all honesty. Hey, what's up? How old are you? Should I just block you now? See, like, I don't appreciate that. Like, I wish that people could just kind of like follow my rules and, respect my boundaries. Hi, Mason. How old are you?
Hey, I'm 21.
21. Sweet, man. Do you think that being a lesbian is wrong?
Personally, I've never experienced it, so I have no idea whether or not, right and wrong is relative. If you've heard of moral relativism.
Have you ever experienced murdering someone?
No, I haven't.
Is murdering someone wrong?
I could say firmly, as someone who's alive, I would not want to be murdered.
Okay.
So
Well,
I could say yes.
We're just going to move on to our next guest. Interesting argument. By the way, guys, if you're watching the live and you do think that being a lesbian is wrong, hop in the guest requests. We have no guest requests right now, so make sure to hop in there. Hey, Aaron, how old are you? Just watched a part of his apology video, and there's everyone in the comment section praising him. Yeah, should we watch that on live, low-key, before we, here, this next guest is not up here to debate. How about we watch the older millennials' apology? Low-key. Hey, what's up? How old are you? Dude, you are speaking through a toaster. Yes. All right, we have one more guest request to try here. I'm going to go ahead and look him up on my computer, though. I don't know why there's so much. Okay. All right. So everyone tuning in, we are doing debates here today. You know what I mean? But we did get banned on the main. So this live will probably take a little bit longer to send out. But if you do think that being a lesbian is wrong, make sure to hop in the guest requests. Before we kind of get some more guest requests going, I do want to go ahead and react to his apology. This is not an apology. Where's the apologies? Here we go.
With some creators on this platform that I very much respect, as well as close friends and even family. I think it's very important that I make this video apologizing for my behavior the other night. I said some things that were completely out of pocket. I'm not going to use the excuse that I was drunk, because no matter how drunk I get, I don't get to say shit like that. Being an asshole and being a smartass and being edgy, it needs to have its limits. And for what I said and how I acted, I sincerely apologize. Now, let me also be clear. This apology is not for everyone. This apology is not to everyone. See, what I said had to do with the unaliving of people. So if you're pro-life, anti-abortion, anti-Planned Parenthood, then this apology is directed to you. I am deeply sorry, and I was wrong. Now, I don't expect you to accept my apology. I don't even expect you to give the slightest of fucks that I made.
Bro, that is so fucking crazy. That is so crazy. So a little bit of fucking backstory. He went on live, and he said that he wanted to unalive everyone with a mental disability, and now he's apologizing. But he's saying he's only going to apologize to people that are pro-life because this is the same thing that pro-choicers do. They murder babies every day. So this is like such a fucking non sequitur. It's insane. It's a fucking insane straw man. So point number one, well, I could just say that he unalives people because he thinks it's not morally wrong to pull the plug on brain dead patients. Seems like we're in the same boat. Point number two, I mean, would it be justified for a vegan to say that everyone who eats meat is synonymous to that of Hitler? Point number three, this just shows that he's fucking disingenuous. He doesn't care, and he would rather not recognize what bad things he did to like people like me, Harry, or Parker, because he wants to try to save face and fucking brush his ego. It's just so embarrassing, bro. It's so embarrassing. Like, this guy's an absolute clown. I'm looking at the comment section here. People are like, best apology I ever heard. Bravo! Best apology. I wish everyone had the courage you do. I love you. Beautiful clarification. And I want to like keep in mind here that everyone in this comment section is at least like 75 years old from like the middle of fucking Louisiana. Like, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and move on to our first guest of the night on this topic. If we are in those guest requests, make sure that we specifically do think that being a lesbian is wrong. We're just looking for some debates. I don't know if the live is gonna send out there, but we'll see what we can do.
Dean.
How old are you?
30.
30, sweet. Do you think that being a lesbian is wrong?
36. I wanted to tell myself I was 30 there for a second, but I'm actually 36. I'm getting old, bro.
Yeah, you are. Old man, for real.
Can you do me a favor when we talk today? Can you not gaslight the shit out of me? Like, my idea is a little bit like, it takes some depth. Like, if you could extend me the faith that I might actually have a deep thought to offer. I know you're very intelligent, but if you could not like assume the interpretation before I get a chance to fully explain it, that way we can have like maybe a productive conversation rather than like an ego-based exercise of you running through 100 people and like proving how smart you are.
Maze, thank you for the $5 on Venmo. Maze says, as a millennial, I do not claim the older millennial. W Maze, slay. Yeah, sure, I won't gaslight you. So why do you think that being a lesbian is wrong?
So when we have a discussion about wrong, right, we have to like preface that with what is wrong. And are we talking about objective morals or subjective? Does objective wrong exist? And what is the standard for that? Because
so I guess the question I'm asking is, do you think being a lesbian is morally wrong? It doesn't really matter if you think it's objectively morally wrong. It doesn't matter if you think it's subjectively morally wrong. I just want to know if you think it's morally wrong. I also don't see why a conversation on what would determine what's wrong and right is relevant outside of the context of why you come to the determination that it's morally wrong to be a lesbian. Like, we just want to stay hyper-specific with the topic here. So now that we've kind of gotten that jargon out of the way, do you think that being a lesbian is morally wrong? And if you do, why so?
Well, you've got it out of the wrong because my assessment for making a decision on something, if it's wrong or not, can take into account, is it wrong within a context? Meaning it's wrong for me to wear my shoes in a Japanese person's house because that's not their custom, but it's not wrong for me to do it in my house. So if someone wants to pursue a religious identity, then it would be wrong within the framework of that paradigm.
Okay. Are you religious?
I am.
And what's your religion?
Christianity.
Okay, I actually have a couple big issues with Christianity.
I'm also non-fundamentalist, so you have to consider, like, you don't know my theology either.
So, well, I know Christian theology, and there's some baseline assumptions that I can make about your
50,000 denominations.
Hey, do you think God is all good?
Yeah.
Do you think God is all powerful?
Do I think God is all powerful? Yeah, I guess so.
Do you think God is all knowing?
I think God is all knowing. He has knowledge of all occurrence.
That's all we need to know.
Yes. Yeah. So your next step is to say he can't be all three of those and like allow for.
No, don't anticipate the argument.
Okay. All right.
So yeah. So my big issue with the Christian God has to essentially boil down to the LPOE, the logical problem of evil. And I can articulate this out in two premises as well as a conclusion. So the first premise is just simply, if the Christian God were to exist, then pro toto evils would not exist. The second premise is pro toto evils do exist, and the conclusion is therefore the Christian God does not exist. So if you accept both of the premises, you'd have to accept the conclusion, but I'm guessing you don't. So which premise of the argument do you reject?
Well, I have to go through that slowly, but just to respond to that simply, why can an all good entity exist separate from its creation? So, I mean, obviously we know that the world is not all good. But that has nothing to do with God's all goodness because he's separate from it.
Do you mind if you just tell me which premise of the argument you reject? If you can't, I'm just
you have to go through the first one a little bit slower.
Yes. So the first premise is, if the Christian God exists, then pro toto evils would not exist.
What is pro toto? What does that mean?
This is a sense of evil that is ultimate. I mean, it means it's ultimately something that shouldn't occur. Given all the facts, given all the considerations, this is just something that shouldn't happen.
So I would need you to expound for me on why the all goodness of God limits there being existence of evil in a separate.
Laura, I appreciate you for the $10 on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love, Laura.
In a separate creation from him. I believe in a God separate from his creation.
Because when God is creating, we're led to believe that he's only going to actualize states of affairs that should be actualized. And if there was to be some occurrence that all things considered shouldn't have happened, this just means that there is a state of affairs in which all things considered shouldn't have occurred.
Okay, so it sounds like to me you're saying an all good God can only set in motion it can't
ultimately
lead
good things.
Yeah, and I disagree with that.
Okay.
And I would say he's not responsible for the diversion and the perversion that has occurred within his creation. So if he sets a thing up in motion, well, I can give you an example, right? Like if I lend my car keys to somebody and I say, go to the store and come back, and they take the car and do something horrendous with it, I'm actually not responsible, even though I enabled them to do it. They couldn't have moved the car. They couldn't have gone anywhere without my doing, but they did something separate from my will, making them responsible, not me.
So there's a couple assumptions you left out there that we'd have to add on to make it like analogous to God. The first assumption that we'd have to add on is that when you gave him your car keys, you knew that he would like take your car and like run over a family of 5 on his own volition. A second assumption that we'd have to add on is that you could have just simply snapped your fingers and made it so he didn't do that, but instead did something good. A third assumption that we'd have to add on.
Can we do the first two? Because you loaded me down with a lot.
Sure. Yeah, we could just do those first two. So yeah, like for instance, if you could have, so would you like lend your friend your car keys, knowing that he would take your car and like drive it into a bank, killing 10 people?
Yeah. So I think with that specifically, foreknowledge, right? I can possess foreknowledge of something, and that does not equate to responsibility thereof.
Yeah, if you could have made it different, it absolutely does. Like for instance, if I have like 2 rooms that I could put my kid in, and I'm a parent, the first room has a pew that I know they're going to use to blow their own head off, and then a second room does not have a pew where they can't blow their own head off. And I know if I put my child in the first room that they're going to blow their own head off, and I do put my child in the first room where they could blow their own head off, instead of putting them in that second room, I would be like responsible for this.
Right. With the example that we're working with, though, that's like a hyper binary situation and a false dichotomy to God setting.
It's actually not.
It is, because you're ending.
I'll go ahead and detail out. I'll go ahead and detail to you how this is the case. So if we have an all good God, their primary motivation when they're discerning what they want to allow or what they want to actualize ultimately is going to be goodness. Okay? Because if it was anything else but goodness, then they wouldn't be all good. So an all good God would only actualize states of affairs that all things considered should be actualized. In other words, an all good God would only allow things that ultimately should occur. If you reject this, we could look at it through another lens, like assuming the hypothetical existence of an all evil God. Would we be led to believe that it's possible that an all evil God would allow anything that is ultimately good, such as a heaven of eternal bliss in the afterlife?
Of course. Would an all evil God allow temporary good?
No, something that is ultimately good, right? Something that all the facts considered led to a good outcome. Yeah,
and so what's important is when we define this ultimate good, absolute good, meaning there's like an eternal good that's going to exist off of this evil God.
That's not what it means. It just means when we consider all the different facts, right, that it is something that is ultimately good.
So the question again is, would an all evil God allow something that is all good to exist?
No, would an all evil God allow something that ultimately is good? Like, again, all things considered is good.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to agree on what these things are. These terms matter, but no, I don't think an all evil God would ultimately allow for the only ultimate.
So if you'd accept
God
that,
himself.
if you'd say that an all evil God wouldn't allow for something that is all things considered good, well then an all good God wouldn't allow for something that is all things considered evil. Mike, I appreciate you for the $50 on PayPal. I appreciate you so much for the love. Yo, let's get a W, Mike, in that chat. I really appreciate you for the $15 for the $50 over PayPal. Absolutely massive W, Mike. If anyone else wants to support me, my Venmo as well as my PayPal are in the bio. That was absolutely so kind of you. So what you just told me is that the Christian God does not allow for pro-toto evils. So this means that you actually accept premise number one. The only other premise that you could reject in the argument in order to escape the conclusion that the Christian God doesn't exist would be premise number two, that pro-toto evils exist.
We really haven't
Thinking about things that are when we're thinking about pro-toto evils, I'm looking at things such as the Holocaust. Like, I ultimately do not think that the Holocaust should have happened. I'm looking at things such as child rape. I ultimately think that child rape is bad. I'm looking at things, such as like starving children. The 200,000 Polish children were enslaved by the Nazis during World War II. All of these things are pro-toto evils in my mind.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with this it's pro-toto. Is that what you're saying?
All this is something that is ultimately evil. Like, all things considered, it shouldn't have occurred.
Right. So again, what I tried to explain to you is that you and I have to have the same definitions for the word ultimate good or
this
true
is an
good.
internal critique. So we're going off of whatever your definitions are, but they're not even relevant to the conversation, because it's not relevant to like talk about how you get to what is good or bad. It's only relevant that you think good and bad exists, and I'm just implicitly operating on whatever that definition is. But once again, I gave you the two premises. You accepted the first premise. Do you accept the second premise that things that are ultimately evil exist?
I have to review what you mean by the first premise, because again, I'm saying it's not possible for something truly evil, there will be no long-standing good. But I don't believe there's long-standing evil with the situation, with reality we have now, because
so you don't think there's anything that has or will occur that ultimately shouldn't have occurred. So this means that you think that the Holocaust should have occurred. This means that you think that child rape should occur. This means that you think that children should starve to death. That's insane.
I think that the badness of those things is temporary and will be expunged. So it's not a permanent evil.
Well,
It's an eternally good God utilizing temporary evil for a ultimate eternally good purpose.
Yeah, so he's utilizing these apparently bad things for some greater good, but ultimately, you'd also say here that if these temporary bads didn't occur, that all things considered, the world would be worse off because the greater good that they were supposed to lead to was forsaken. So this means that those evils should have happened, correct?
I'm saying they did happen.
No, I'm asking you if they should have.
Meaning, like, could God have accomplished his means through another path?
I mean, that's actually
sure.
one way of that's one way of looking at it.
I'm not sure.
Is by you telling me if they were necessary to occur. But it's a bad look if you say they're not necessary to occur, because then God is just allowing for these unnecessary suffering and evil for no fucking purpose.
Right.
But I'll go ahead and reiterate my point. You said the reason that these apparently evil things exist and occur is because they lead to some greater divine good. So it would, all things considered, would the world be worse off if these evil things such as the Holocaust didn't happen, because that ultimate divine good, that greater good, would have been forsaken?
So it's really important for me to be specific with the claim I'm making. And the claim I'm making is that the existence of these temporary bad things does not prove the potentiality of an all-good God. That's my actual claim here.
Chris, I'm asking you something very specific.
I know,
Chris,
but it's
Chris, like, I'm not going to lie here, man. I am really done with having conversations with Christians that are unable to answer my questions. So I've asked you the question 2 times now, and we're just circling. I will ask you it a 3rd time, and I will give you your time to respond. But if you're unable to answer it, I'm just going to go ahead and kick you and move on to the next guest. It is boring and frustrating for me when Christians do this, and it's probably boring and frustrating for a lot of the people in chat that are watching the live right now when Christians do this. So you said that these evil things happen for some greater good. So the question that I'm asking you is, does this mean that they should have happened? Because if they didn't, the world would be worse off because the greater good would have been forsaken. If you don't understand what I'm asking, ask me for clarification. I'll give it to you. But nonetheless, you're either going to answer or dip.
Yeah, you're asking me if they should have happened, right? The simple
because if they lead to some greater good, if they didn't happen, we'd be forsaking that greater good, which means they should have happened.
And my response again will be, I don't know if there was an alternate means. What I'm saying is it's irrelevant to the claim I made. And my answer to your question is I'm not sure.
Okay, so then you're agnostic on premise 2, so then you're agnostic on the conclusion, which is the Christian God can't exist. So anyways, you're agnostic.
I don't think agnosticism on the point, but agnosticism on the point doesn't commit to a negative. It doesn't confirm anything.
No, so you
I can be agnostic on a point, but still be proactive on my original claim, which is that the existence of these evils does not negate the potentiality of the existence of this eternal all good.
Oh, actually, yes, it does.
It doesn't.
I gave you the argument to show you how it does. Premise 1, if the Christian God exists, then proto-evils do not exist. Premise number 2, proto-evils do exist. Conclusion, therefore, the Christian God does not exist. And in fact, you sound really like stupid when you say that this does not negate the existence of the Christian God, because you accepted premise number 1, that in order for this God to exist, proto-evils cannot exist. So it's like you are literally contradiction your earlier acceptance of premise number 1. If you want to reject P1, we could go back to that, but at this point, it's just getting circular.
Yeah, I mean, again, I have to spend some time with this like linking word you're using because it's confusing to me. I don't know how many times I have to be clear though that like there can be a presence of temporary bad and it does not negate eternal good. So
once again, these temporary bads are
both.
Well, the only way that you could say that the existence of the Christian God would work in union with these temporary bads is if you think that these temporary bads should have happened. So do you think that these temporary bads should happen?
Should?
Yeah, like that's.
I think maybe they should. I mean, I'd have to spend some time with what we mean by should. I know that they did, and I know that they're going to be utilized for good ultimately.
Yeah, so if they didn't happen, the world would be worse off because they couldn't be utilized for good.
I don't think it would be worse off. It wouldn't.
Okay, so the world would be worse off because a greater good wouldn't be achieved, right? Imagine you set out to put like 15 gallons of gas in your car, but you were only able to put in 10. It seems like you'd be worse off than a state of affairs where you're able to put in all 15. If God set out to achieve a goodness level of 100, but because the Holocaust didn't happen, he was only able to achieve a goodness level of 99. Well, it seems like the world's worse off because there's less ultimate good achieved. But when you say that these things should happen, you're just saying that the Holocaust should happen, that these 200,000 children who got enslaved in Poland should have been enslaved, child rape should occur. And we could look at further issues with this, but this is just dead fucking insane.
It's also possible for us to look at like the story of the garden, the original.
Is it relevant?
Yeah, it is because God is kind of making the claim that we never had to do this to begin with, but we did this, we chose this. And so it's like, did evil have to happen? It's like, no, we could have stayed in perfection, but we've fallen from perfection. So evil is a part of the story of us getting back to perfection.
I don't think that we chose to fall, because if God thought that the fall of man was ultimately wrong, then God wouldn't have allowed the fall of man. You accepted this too, because you told me that God only allows things that are ultimately good. So this means that the fall of man was ultimately good.
No, I've never said God only allows things that are ultimately good. I'm saying that.
So do you think that God allows things that are ultimately evil?
Ultimately, no. I think he allows things that are temporarily evil. But that doesn't mean he only allows.
What is a temporary evil? Can you define that word?
Yeah, it's an evil that will exist in a short time, but will be dissolved ultimately. So it's a temporary.
Define the word evil.
Evil is non-good. I mean, I'm trying to.
You can't tell me what determines evil.
Separation.
Brigatoni, you got dunked on earlier. Appreciate Alex.
Yeah, I would say it's non-perfection, and it is everything that God is not. So it's separation from his.
Oh, so you'd say that God is defined as being good in a descriptive way?
God is all good.
Do you think that
God is all good? Yes.
Do you think that there's like certain things that God should do?
He has his nature, and he never detracts from it. There is no should or ought with God.
Okay, so then God could stomp out all evil tomorrow because there's no shoulds or oughts that would dictate him from not doing that.
The fact that he doesn't, he's correct in not doing that. God is perfect. There is no imperfection in God. There's only imperfection and separation.
I mean, all that's telling us is that a world with evil is better than a world without evil, according to you. A world where the Holocaust happened is better than a world where the Holocaust didn't happen, according to you. A world where children get raped is better than a world where children don't get raped, according to you. Because if it's good for God to allow for evil, this just means that a world with evil is better or gooder than a world without evil.
Well, no, because we believe in a world to come, and it is without
No,
evil.
Chris, because if you're okay, now we need to evaluate this. Because you told me that God always does what is good, and because God allowed for evil, this means it was good to allow for evil. But now you're saying a world without evil is gooder than a world with evil. So this means all things considered, God did something wrong by allowing for evil.
No, it's a false dichotomy.
It is not. I'm not even presenting you with a dichotomy. I'm just telling you how these omni properties would work in association with God.
Yeah, but it's the.
Can you tell me the issue of my logic?
The issue with your logic is you're posing alternate realities that neither of us have any knowledge of. So it's like you're giving an alternative to the reality we're in, but it's beyond either of our ability to even consider. It's like I'm living in what
Are you saying that it is beyond our ability to say that the world would be better if children don't get raped? Are you saying that it's beyond our ability to say that?
Okay, so we know a world without such things is a better world. Okay. We have that world. God created that world.
We do not have that world. Do children get raped?
They don't in heaven. They don't in the New Jerusalem. They don't in the next world, which is the whole point.
Hey, Chris, we'll make this very simple.
But I'm saying that world exists.
Would the world be Would the world be better right now if children didn't get raped? The one we live in, the earth.
If we weren't in earth right now and we were in heaven, it would be better. Yes, but we're not in heaven.
No. I'm gonna ask you my question again. This is what Christians do. They literally can't answer shit. Okay.
I think I just answered that.
I'm making this. No, you didn't.
I think I did.
Didn't. I asked you, would the world be better right now if children didn't get raped? Period. Would the world be better? Period.
But you're
get raped,
okay.
Period.
I'm going to try to explain this to you though. You're asking a question that's impossible because the world would not be.
He can't say that the world would be better if children didn't get raped.
It wouldn't be the world. I mean, you're asking me, would a woman be better if she were a man? That's the question you're asking.
No, I'm asking if the world would be better if children didn't get raped. What?
If children didn't get raped.
Wait, are you? Oh my God!
The world.
Hey,
it would not be the world.
Hey, I have a question.
It wouldn't be the world.
If Hitler never committed the Holocaust, would the world be better?
It wouldn't be the world anymore.
You're so insane. You can't even say that things would be better if the Holocaust didn't happen. You're crazy. You are so crazy.
I think you're hurting here. I think you're lagging here. Because you didn't anticipate that Christianity has already said we have in our theology another world. That world is called heaven. It is a better world. God made it. Of course it would be better without all these things.
Can we have better earths? Or
we're having a new earth. That's in Christian theology. Is the
I don't know
the new heaven and the new earth.
I don't know. I'm asking you if there's more preferable versions of like the world out there that God could have created. Like one where, like for instance,
no, it wouldn't be this world. It would be something else.
So all things considered, we live in the most desirable states of affairs. All things considered that okay. So sir, if God were to create humanity and the earth in a way in which the Holocaust never happened, would that be a better state of affairs?
It would. I don't know. I can't answer a false creation that's not reality. Like you can't ask me about. You can't ask me about a bicycle and say would it be better as a car.
Let's see what the chat thinks, guys. If the Holocaust,
they're all atheists.
Oh no! If the Holocaust never happened, even Christians, okay, you can answer this. If the Holocaust never happened, would things be better off? Would it be more preferable for the Holocaust not to occur over the Holocaust not occurring? Yes. I see crosses in their names too. Yeah,
I don't.
Yeah. Hey, all those Christians out there, I want you to hop in on this.
But you have to phrase the question: Would the world be better if God didn't allow? I mean, if you're asking me about a minute issue, if some man.
Let's see. Yes, everyone is down there spamming yes. We all think that the Holocaust shouldn't have occurred. But this presents an issue for Christianity. Because if the Christian God were to exist, then this means that he thought it was good that the Holocaust happened, okay? But instead of you recognizing that maybe things would be better off if the Holocaust didn't occur,
What do you mean maybe? You said
just say that it should have occurred.
You didn't say maybe. You didn't say
You just have
maybe.
to bite that fucking bullet.
You didn't say maybe, Dean. You said would it be better give the confirmation, right? Which I have to consider then, are you limiting free will at that point?
No,
It depends on what you do to cause that change.
Hey, so I don't think that evil happens because we have free will. I think that God could have given us free will without giving us the power to do evil. Like, for instance, right now we have free will, but we don't have the power to jump to the moon, and we don't say that doesn't limit our free will. So maybe we could add free will without the power to do evil. And I think that this is actually very present in Christian theology. For instance, the Christian God has free will, but he can't sin because he doesn't have the power to do so. People in heaven have free will, but they can't sin because they don't have the power to do so. God could have created Adam and Eve to have free will without the power to be able to sin.
I don't know that God doesn't have the power to sin.
Hell, I appreciate you for the money gun. Thank you so much for the love.
I don't know where you get that from. Like, again,
I'll tell
you're
you.
using... Yeah, please do.
Yeah, can God do things that are logically contradictory?
I think he can.
Okay, so, whoa. So God could, not be God? Given that that's a logical contradiction, but God could do those things?
If Jesus is walking on water, it is a logical contradiction.
You don't
Is it
understand
not?
It is not. So a logical contradiction...
It's not a logical contradiction. For a man to walk on water.
Yeah, that is not a logical contradiction.
How is it not?
So the definition of a logical contradiction is just the assertion, the affirmation of a premise and the negation of a premise. An example of a logical contradiction would be like a squared circle. Another example of a logical contradiction would be like the time is noon and the time is 1 simultaneously. Hells, thank you so much for the you're amazing. I appreciate you so much for the love. But there's no contradiction in a man walking on water. It's just not physically possible. And when we're talking about the discourse of possibilities, philosophically speaking, there's different types of there's different types of possibilities. There's things that are physically possible or physically impossible that are logically possible. And in the literature, God is going to be limited by logical possibilities. If you would affirm this, well, then God wouldn't be able to do evil things, because if he were to, that would be a logical contradiction, and God can't do those. But if you don't affirm this and you think that God can do things that are logically contradictory, well, then God could have created us to have free will while not being able to do evil things, point blank, period. Because at the end of the day, even if you think that's contradictory, don't matter. God could do that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things God could do that I can't even begin to wrap my head around, but the issue is he didn't, and we know he's perfect.
Well, you're starting from you're starting from the top and going down. I'm starting from the bottom and going up. I'm presenting you these issues. I'm showing you if you were to accept the existence of the Christian God, all of a sudden you have to accept that everything that exists is good. And you seem to just be biting that bullet when you say things such as the idea that the Holocaust should have happened, etc. When you seem to be accepting this when you say that when you are apologetic to the idea that we do live in the most preferable version of reality and things would be worse if the Holocaust didn't happen. And these are all insane statements, but I think the bigger issue here, logically speaking, was, well, what is evil then? Because if everything that exists is aligned with the will of God and we live in the best possible states of affairs, and if these apparently evil things didn't happen, the world would be worse off, well, doesn't this mean that all evil is actually good?
Right. So there's a lot of things even within a statement like that. So it's more accurate to describe my position as the Holocaust should have been allowed to have happened. I'm not standing by the position it should have happened. But
why so? Why should it have been allowed?
Because humans have the capacity to choose if they're going to honor life or they're going to take life, right? So you cannot separate giving human beings the capacity to choose with the inevitability that some of them are going to choose evil. And we saw
that's not true.
So it's like when you ask these questions, you don't realize that you're not taking into consideration.
I actually reject that, Chris.
Well, you're not letting me finish. What do you reject?
Yeah, God could have given us the capacity to choose without giving us the capacity to choose evil.
Then what is the choice? The choice between what?
Between all the good options.
Right, but then you're in the world of perfection, which, according to the theology, we already account for that already exists.
In heaven.
Like you're proposing these better situations that, as Christians, we're saying, yeah, those already exist. We're just not in it.
Here's what I'm saying: a world where we all just spawned into heaven without having to go through the trials and tribulations and evil on earth is better than a world where we do have to go through the suffering, trials, and tribulations on earth first. Would you accept or reject
It's not. I reject it because it's actually not better for the ones who are needing to go through this process.
Exactly. So all things considered, you'd say a world where the Holocaust happened is better than a world where it didn't. That's like a dude. Like that's crazy.
No, I'm not. I'm saying the existence of one has
no. You did just
giving
say
a false qualifier. You're giving a false equivalency.
I'll go ahead and what's the false equivalency?
Because you're saying if a world exists where it doesn't happen, we're already, because you're asking me an either or that's not taking into account, I already believe that world exists. So you're saying this world compared to that world, and I'm saying there's no comparison.
You actually do not believe a world where we all automatically go to heaven without having to experience suffering exists. You do not believe that because the earth is the place where you experience the suffering and you believe the earth exists. So let me phrase the question this way. Which state of affairs, which world that God could have created is better? A world where we just live in heaven, we go straight there, no evil, no suffering, no Holocaust, no grape.
That exists. You understand that, right?
No, that doesn't exist. That doesn't exist.
Heaven exists.
Chris.
In the Christian mind, it does. In theology,
Chris,
it does.
I'm so sorry, but you're being so willfully ignorant. What did I say?
You're asking me a comparison about the opportunity for one thing to exist.
What's the first point of comparison?
A world where everyone is in heaven and there is no suffering. And
is that a world that exists? Is everyone in heaven?
Yes.
Everyone,
it exists
we're
now.
in heaven. We are in heaven right now.
Okay. So you're saying where every single entity that's ever created in existence is never apart from that?
Was this not implied when I said everyone?
I'm not sure what you mean by that. I mean,
oh my God, you're being so dense.
Well, you could have people within a world that aren't a part of another world.
Oh my God, then it wouldn't be everyone. Then it wouldn't be everyone.
Okay.
Yes, so you're going to say everyone that exists is in heaven, but there's people that exist that aren't in heaven. That's a fucking contradiction. Darkness, I appreciate you so much for the love. Thank you so much. W Darkness. And Bree, thank you for the $6.66 on Venmo. Let's get a W Bree as well as a W666 in the chat. I appreciate you so much for that love, Bree, W666. But yeah, Chris, I'll go ahead and ask you again. Which state of affairs is better? A world where everyone goes straight to heaven and experiences no pain, no suffering, no trauma, but has free will and lives out their life by only choosing the good? Or a world in which we do experience pain, Holocaust, suffering, trauma, child rape, racism, slavery, etc., and then maybe some of us go to heaven? Which world is better?
Yeah, so to make this comparison, you have to assume that what you have just quoted is even possible, right?
Yeah, and it's not an assumption. We detailed how that is possible.
No, you've in theory detailed how it's possible, and I don't agree with it.
Wait, so you don't think it's possible to have free will without the ability to choose to do bad things?
I don't think it's possible to absolutely have free will and not have entities that are human not eventually choose evil. That to me is indicating that free will doesn't really exist.
Was
there.
Jesus a human?
Jesus was God and human.
So I understand that he was fully God, but he was fully human, right?
And fully God. Yeah, but you can't not include that.
Okay, so here's the thing. You're saying that it is possible for God to have free will while maintaining the ability to only choose the good, but it is not possible for humans to have free will while maintaining the ability to only choose the good. So the big issue with this is merely special pleading. You don't actually have a good reason to assume that it's possible for God and not possible for us. You're just simply saying that because it maintains internal consistency. And I'd like you to prove me wrong, show me that you're not special pleading, and actually give me the logical symmetry breaker. Why is that not possible for humans?
It's just not the nature of what we are.
Well, yes, I'd actually agree with that point. Alexis, thank you for the you're amazing. God made us with a nature that made it impossible for us to only choose the good. But keyword, God made us with that nature. God could have made us with a nature where it was not only possible but necessary for us to only choose the good.
He made us. Can you say that first part again?
Yeah, you said that it's not. You said that it's not possible for humans to have free will while only and necessarily choosing to do good things because of the nature, the fallen nature that God made us with. I agree with that, but what I'm saying is God could have made us with a nature that wasn't fallen. God could have made us with a nature where we only chose to do the good things in all scenarios always, and we still would have had free will.
Yeah.
And is
So if
that
I understand
possible?
you, well, that's what I'm going to ask you. So I make sure I understand the same thing. It sounds like to me what you're asking is, could God have made a creation that is only full of Jesus Christs, essentially? Could
No,
God have made
you're wrong.
nothing but angel?
You're,
Well, if they
you're-
don't
now
have,
you're
if they're
conflating.
not,
Melly, I appreciate you for the you're amazing.
I'm asking. Help me understand it, because it's like
Melly,
you're
thank you
asking
for the two you're amazings. I appreciate you for the love. Let's go, Melly.
You're asking for humans, which by definition are imperfect, and then you're asking that they be all made perfect, essentially, or faultless, which
my
by
God.
definition we don't have humans anymore at that point.
So Jesus wasn't a human.
He was human and fully God. You can't separate those. He's not a normal human. No, he's fully God.
Hey, Chris.
There
do you
is
understand
no one
how
like
dense
him.
you're being? You literally said if we
Not
could
really.
only choose to do good things, that we wouldn't be human anymore. So, Jesus
Yeah, we'd be
wasn't
divine.
human.
Jesus was human and you can't separate that. That's the issue.
Okay, do you understand how this contradicts your last statement that we wouldn't be human? Because now you're saying he was human and? There's a difference between saying that we'd be human and something else and saying that we wouldn't be human.
No, I think when you add an and, when you add a connector, you change the very nature of the individual entity.
So Jesus wasn't 100% human. Hey, are the people in heaven divine?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, we would be divine. What's the issue?
And I would say, yes, Gene, he is 100% human, but he's also 100% divine, and we are not.
Yeah,
So
dude,
that
I don't
makes us
understand. Like,
different.
I don't. Yeah, this is a difference. But what you're not recognizing here is that God could have made us divine, or whatever you want to say, so we had free will, but only just.
Right. And so my question to you was, did you want you're proposing an existence where God made a billion Jesus Christs?
And I know, actually, Chris, this is you being dense. This is you being dishonest. This is you conflating.
How is it not
this
that,
is a red
though?
herring.
How is it
So,
not
Chris,
that?
I'm going to go ahead and talk. You're going to go ahead and listen. This is you being
Okay.
dense. This is you being dishonest. This is you introducing a red herring. This is you just trying to throw the debate off topic. Is everyone in heaven Jesus Christ, sir? No, but they have free will, but
yeah,
they can't sin.
actually, I would have to explore that because
You
there's
think
no
that
sin in-
everyone in heaven is God?
I think
Oh
they're
my
a
God.
part of
Wait,
it. Yeah.
when you die, you're going to become God?
I think we're going to become part of God.
Yo! Oh my God, what is this heresy?
You're not familiar-
This
are
man
you
is
not-
a Christian, by the way. Chat, this man is a Christian. When we all die, we're going to become God. How many gods are there?
Well, I said 3 times we're going to become part of God. That's what I
Okay,
said.
how many parts of God are there?
So that was a cool spiel of you like accusing me of dishonesty while you then
No,
blatantly
how many
changed
parts
my
of God are
words.
there? How many parts of God are there?
Are you talking about the Trinity now?
What else
You talking
could
about
I
the
be talking
Trinity?
about?
Well, there's 3 personalities of God. I don't know if you call those
So wait,
parts.
which personality of God do we become when we die?
We have Jesus Christ inside of us now.
Whoa! Jesus Christ is coming in both you and me right now. It's actually the Holy Spirit. That's not the point. So you
Well,
actually
it's not in you.
Wait,
He's not in you, but he's in me, hopefully.
Wait, Chris, you actually think that when
You
we all
understand
die,
that we
Chris,
you understand
stop.
that we
Chris,
are
stop. Chris, stop. So you
Whoa.
actually think when we all die that we become a part of Jesus?
No, not we all. Not everyone goes to heaven, Dean.
So when you go to heaven, you become
Dean,
a
not
part of
everyone
God?
goes to heaven.
Yeah, Chris.
Do
answer my
Christians
question.
become
Answer my question. Yes or no? When Christians go to heaven, do they become Jesus Christ? Or
It's much sooner than that. It's much sooner than that. Christians are yoked to Jesus Christ when they're born again. Every Christian knows what I'm saying. This is not anything crazy unless
Yes, it
you're
is.
not.
Yes, it is. Christians
No, it's
in
not.
chat.
I'll give you a
Christians in
verse.
chat. Christians in chat. When you die, do you become God? Christians in chat. When you die, do you become God? Where are my Christians at? Where
didn't
are
say
my
that.
Christians at? Where are them? G says no. Alexandra says no. Luna says no.
This is-
Nat
this is
says
your-
no. No, I
this is
asked
your
for the Christians.
gaslighting.
I know.
This
I
is
asked
your
for the
gaslighting.
Avery says no. No.
This is
no.
your
No.
gaslighting.
No. 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 Wait, are you a Mormon? Is this a Mormon belief?
You're gaslighting me.
I'm not gaslighting you. I'm not.
Gaslighting me.
No, I'm
No,
not.
you're
You
not.
think
Yeah,
that
you are,
when we
'cause you're
die,
not-
we become part of God?
We're part of God the second we're born again. It's even before then. We're part of God before we die.
Okay, I have a question. So you think that before we die, aka when we're walking the earth, we are a part of God. So do you think that
Not
parts
if you're
of
not
God-
born again.
Wait, do you
if
think
you're
that
not born
parts of
again,
God-
you're not.
One second. Okay. So born again Christians are a part of God. Sweet.
100%.
Okay,
I don't
follow me
understand
here.
why that's
Follow me
crazy.
here.
Explain to
Follow me here.
You're
Follow
gaslighting me.
Follow
You're
me,
gaslighting
Chris.
me.
No,
You're gaslighting
I'm
me.
intellectually dunking on you. Follow me.
You're not. You're not. It shows.
Okay,
It shows
can you
that
calm
you're
down?
worried about something. Because I can show you these verses of why I would say something.
Can you
like
calm down, Chris?
that. I'm calm, but I'm just letting you know you're
Okay, here we go.
gaslighting.
So you said that all Christians are part of God. Do Christians grape
They are.
children? Do Christians grape children? Sometimes.
Followers of Christ do not. People who nominally identify as a Christian, but there's something wicked in their soul might. But
Wait.
no. See, we have to define
Do
words.
Christians sin?
What is a Christian, Dean?
A follower of Jesus Christ. Stop pivoting.
Yeah, so if you're following Jesus Christ, you're not going to be graping a child, period.
Fine, I'll actually grant that one to you. Do Christians sin sometime?
They sin, I would say, non-willfully, and there are classifications depending on your theology, right? So like a Catholic is going to have mortal sin versus like venial. So we still even have to...
Is it a yes or a no? Do Christians sin sometime?
Here again, the specificity we use to define a word matters. Like you're oversimplifying things that aren't
Yeah,
that
Chris,
simple.
no, it is very simple to say
I
that
just explained to you. I
Christians
don't
can
think that Christians grape children ever. I don't think
sin.
a
Okay, got it,
Christian
that's fine.
does that.
Can Christians sin?
Yeah, venially.
Okay, sounds good. So Christians can sin. Christians are a part of God, so parts of God can sin.
No, because the flesh is what sins. This is why you need to study theology. We actually have verses that explain exactly that, and you're using this hyper binary that we've already
So
addressed.
it's either
the
true
flesh
that Christians
sins.
aren't a part of God, or
Wait,
it's
let me
if it's the
explain.
flesh that sins, then why does the soul of a sinner go to hell?
Because it's not yoked to Jesus Christ. Because it's not the soul of a sinner.
Oh my
The soul
God!
of Jesus.
So you think that Christians are a part of God, and you don't think that these parts of God sin, so you don't think Christians sin, and you think that it's not the soul, but why is the soul punished?
This is what you do when you
What
get
the
worried,
hell?
Dean. You gaslight, homie. I know the
Chad.
ego feels good.
Chad, am I worried
But
right now?
imagine for a second that like Christian theology is highly sophisticated and well developed, and we've been working on it for a couple thousand years. And there's been a few of us that
And
you might be surprised are almost as smart as you, Dean. There's
It's
been a few
highly-
of us Christians that are almost as smart as you, and we
It's highly
actually
sophisticated.
have.
It's highly sophisticated. It's overdeveloped, and a 19-year-old white boy on TikTok can dunk on it in 50 minutes.
But you didn't.
Yes,
You're
I
just
did.
gaslighting. You're dunking in your own mind against an
No,
imaginary straw man.
I definitely dunked on you. You said that the Holocaust should have occurred. You said that child
I
rape should have
didn't
happened.
say the Holocaust should have occurred.
Okay, so do you
I
think
said
that the Holocaust
the ability
is
for it to
considered shouldn't
happen? See, man, don't straw man. It's a weakness. It shows that you're afraid to deal with me in actuality.
I'm not
Right?
strawmanning at all. Because you
But
think that a
you
world
are
where
when
the
you
Holocaust
change my
happened-
words
One second.
intentionally.
You think that a world where the Holocaust didn't happen is worse where a world where it did, correct?
Absolutely not. It's not
then you
better
think a
than
world where the
heaven.
Holocaust-
We
one
already
second.
have an alternate
One second.
world.
So,
we
Chris,
have another
if you-
world.
Chris,
It's
if you
called
don't-
paradise.
Chris, if you don't
So
think the
every time you ask that question, you're showing you don't understand Christian theology.
Chris, so you do think that a world where the Holocaust didn't happen is better then, right?
Heaven is better than earth, of course.
No, if
Heaven is
the
better
world
than
where
earth,
the
of
Hol-
course.
Chris, if the Holocaust didn't happen, we would.
There you go. Eden was better than the fall. You
Chris,
have
if
it right
If the
there.
Holocaust didn't happen, we wouldn't be in heaven. We wouldn't be in Eden.
What? Say that again. If the
Dude, you're being
Holocaust
so
didn't happen?
disingenuous. If the Holocaust
I'm being
didn't happen,
totally
would we be in
genuine.
heaven?
It's funny because you're asking questions that you assume.
Bro, are
the
you actually
question is
saying? Are you
valid.
actually saying that if Hitler went to art school, that we would be in heaven right now? To be so fucking furl, you're so dishonest.
saying that
if a world where the Holocaust didn't happen, all else held the same, would that world be better?
If the Holocaust didn't happen, all else would the same. I'm saying that the question itself is an impossibility. You
So
can't
see what I
keep
mean? You
all.
can't even tell me that the Holocaust should have
Yeah,
occurred.
because you don't even want to hear the answer. You ask a question.
Chat, look at that. He just told me that it was impossible. He said that he doesn't know if Hitler went to art school that the world would.
I didn't say that. I didn't answer the question.
Yeah, no, you
Did
just
you
said
make
that
up a fake
no,
answer.
No, Chris, you just said that it is impossible for you to know that the world would be better if the Holocaust didn't happen. All this means is that you don't know if Hitler went to art school that things would have been better. And that's insane. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is why I said that I'm dunking on you. This is what Christians have to do with all evil things. We could take it out of the context of the Holocaust and put it in the context of P3 men being born with attractions towards kids. If some men were not born with attractions towards kids, would you say that the world would be better off? Yes or no? Click on your there you go.
Are you done with your gaslight and straw man yet?
Dude,
Did you get?
I was
did you
asking
get that
you a
out?
question.
Get that out for your ego while you posed questions that have implications that are false within the.
I asked you a question. I asked you a question, and you said that I'm gaslighting and strawmanning you. Could you please?
You silenced me for 2 minutes.
Chris, would you be able to?
How is that not a gaslight? While you then
This is what you're doing. You're over talking me.
Well,
if you're gonna make
I'm over talking you.
Chris, if you're going to make claims that I'm gaslighting and silencing and strawmanning you, well, I'm actually going to need you to substantiate those. Because as far as I'm concerned, I legitimately think that you're just lying and whining and coping and seething because you're getting beat right now. So I'll just simply ask you to demonstrate how my question, would the world be better if people were not attracted to kids, is specifically a gaslight or a strawman?
Sure. So when you ask me a question, I answer it. You then articulate that answer wrong. You then silence me when I try to tell you you're giving the wrong answer of what I just said. You then put me on silence, and for 2 minutes, you talk about answers to questions that I never gave, that you make up. You're just like displaying your capacity for your ego to create a false character in your head and you to have a dominant conversation with it. That is a total gaslight.
Okay, so then maybe if I misunderstood your answer, Chris, if I misunderstood your answer, then maybe you could clarify your answer for us. So I'll just go ahead and ask the question again, and I will allow you time to give me an answer. All right, because I won't rule out that maybe I misunderstood your answer, maybe I misrepresented your answer, but I just think that's because you're deflecting and you're not answering the question at all. And I bet a lot of people in the chat would agree with this, but I'm going to go ahead and be a good guy, give you the benefit of a doubt, and just simply re-ask the question. So all that I'm asking you is, all else held equal, would things be better if men were not attracted to kids?
Would all things be better if men were not attracted to kids?
If pedophilia didn't
exist,
would it be better?
Right. So my issue is you're going to remove a type of evil from the world, and you're going to yet keep all other factors of the world the same. And what I'm saying is, with your question, I'm not sure if that's a possibility to begin with. So what I need to know is, when you do something like that, are we affecting free will at that point? Like, you're positing this imaginary hypothetical. And what I'm saying is, if we removed, I would love every type of evil to be removed. But I don't know if that's possible. So
Chris,
when you
have
do
free will?
that, are you crushing free will?
Chris, do you have free will?
Do I have free will?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Are you attracted to kids?
No.
So you could have free will without being attracted to kids?
I can not be an alcoholic and I can have free will. I cannot have a tendency to cheat on women and I can have free. There's a million different types of evil things I may not struggle with, but they exist in our world. We would love tremendously much less evil to exist, but when you make a question and you say, could this be with this? And then and the natural implication is, then so why didn't God do that? If we could have a world where we don't have this type of evil, the very simple, and God's purposes can be accomplished, the very next step, very simply, is to say, so why didn't God do that? So it's really simple.
Let me clear up this thing about free will, because I think I could actually give an intuitive analogy to you that you could hopefully understand. If I go outside right now and I try to jump to the moon, no matter how hard I try, I will not be able to. There's nothing I could do that will make me able to walk outside and jump to the fucking moon. Mm-hmm. But you still say I have free will, and you say that my free will is not limited. So all that I'm saying here is, well, why didn't God make it so no matter how hard adults tried to be attracted to minors, they just couldn't do it in the same way Dean can't jump to the moon? It seems like their free will wouldn't be infringed upon in the same sense my free will isn't infringed upon.
Right.
So when you raise the objection of free will to explain certain evil actions, I just think it's a non sequitur, because we could maintain free will without the ability to do some things.
You're just proposing an alternate reality that we do not happen to live in, and the nature of evil itself, because the definition of it is a horrible, reprehensible thing, right? And so you're going to change the types and variations of that in your hypothetical imaginary world, when God himself is saying he detests all evil. God hates all evil. He opposes it. Right.
Because so if God hated evil, one second. If God hated evil,
right,
then God would think a world without it would be better. And he would have made that world.
But he does. And he did.
So
that's where we separate. He does and he did. It's called paradise.
If God thinks a world where adults are not attracted to kids is
Yep.
better than a world where adults are attracted to kids.
Correct.
And it was possible for God to make this world, and he didn't
did.
make this world.
But he did.
Our kids
It's called heaven. He made it. It's perfect.
Okay.
There's no child abuse.
So
there.
Chris, I will once again go ahead and repeat like the scope of our conversation here, because
What?
now you're introducing red herrings. You're saying God did make a world where people are attracted to minors. Are not attracted to minors. So we're
Yes,
talking
okay.
about the earth. I understand that you're saying that when people die they go to heaven, when people die they go to hell. We're talking about the earth, okay? And God could have made an earth. I'll be more specific with my words.
With less evil.
Adults, one second, where adults are not attracted to minors. So let me just ask you, is an earth where adults are not attracted to minors better than an earth where adults are attracted to minors, all else held equal?
All else held equal in a hypothetical imaginary exercise? Of course.
Okay.
But it's not real, and he didn't, and it does not negate his goodness necessarily.
It does. Follow me
doesn't.
here. Follow me here. I demonstrated to you how it is possible to have free will.
You didn't. You imagine. You did it in a hypothetical that's imaginary. We haven't confirmed it's a possibility, though.
Okay.
All you've
so-
done is
so
said in
Chris,
an imaginary place where things are imaginarily better, and I said, yeah, in an
like you're
imaginary
fucking
place.
God.
Neither of us are.
No, you were talking about imaginary things like your God. So I think that you are now misconstruing.
What do you mean?
logic.
I'm talking about imaginary
One
things
second.
like I'm God.
I think that
I'm
you are
assuming
now.
I'm not
No, I
God.
said like your God. I think that you are now
That's
misconstruing.
what you're doing.
Chris, I think that you are now misconstruing like logic and hypotheticals with like this sense of imagination that isn't real, which I think Christians do all the time because you have to reject logic in order to maintain a consistent worldview. But I want to go ahead and re-reference my explanation on how having free will is very compatible without the ability to do bad things. And I want to see your drill down into why I'm wrong. So
Okay, so-
Casey, I appreciate you for the $10 on Venmo. I appreciate you so much for the love. Double you, Casey, in that chat. I thank you so much. So we're going to go ahead and go over that hypothetical again. So here's the hypothetical I gave you. I want to see what the issue with it is. If I walk outside right now and I try to jump to the moon, no matter how hard I try, I will never be able to do that. But
Right.
yet you say I have free will, yet you say my free will is not infringed upon.
You have
So
free will within
God
a
could have made it so.
context. You have free will within a context. You don't have total.
Can I finish?
You're not. So I know, but you can make the thing. If I can't go outside and magically create 20 universes in my mind, then I don't have choice over anything, and that's a false dichotomy right there. Just because you're not all powerful does not mean you don't possess any power. Like,
Good
I
job.
noticed This is
Good
your
job. Good job. Chris, you're actually doing really fucking good right now. You
Well, I
are
know that.
saying
I'm
that
always
we
doing good.
have free will, but all this means is that we are able to choose to do things in a
Within a
specific context. But what I'm saying is God could have left pedophiles out of that context. God could have left attractions towards kids out of that context, and the world would be better if he did that. But he didn't. He fucking put attractions towards kids in that context, and this was wrong.
Well, he didn't put it in there, right? And so what
He
you
did.
have,
He did, Chris.
but the potential for it to occur, but
And
it
he could have
happened.
left the potential. No, he's all knowing. He knew it would occur, and he could have left that potential out.
Right.
He caused this.
No, I don't think he caused it. I don't think he caused it. That's the whole thing. It's literally the
okay,
evil.
so
the evil.
let me explain it. Let me give you
explain.
an analogy here. Let me give you an analogy here. So if I have a kid and I want to put my kid in one of two rooms, and the first room has a pew pew that they could use to self-unalive, and the second room doesn't have that pew pew, and I know if I put them in the first room, they'll self-unalive. Okay. If I take
It's a
my
bad
kid and I put him in
analogy.
that, one second.
It's a bad analogy.
1 second. If I take my kid and I put him in that first room and they self-unalive, did I cause that?
In this, like, again, hyper binary imaginary situation you're creating, sure, but it's a bad analogy to what God did.
Okay, 1 second. I got a donation here.
And I can give you a better one.
I actually don't think it was a bad analogy at all. I do just want to go ahead and read off this dono real quick.
Horrible, because there's no higher
you're-
purpose
you're
in
kinda
your
like-
scenario where
I-
something bad happens. You have no higher purpose for that bad.
Erica, I appreciate you for the $20 on Venmo. I appreciate you so much for the love. Let's get a W, Erica, in that comment section. I appreciate you so much for the $20 on Venmo. So here's the thing. So God
Bad
was
analogy.
deciding. God was deciding which world he wanted to make. The world in his left hand has kids attracted to minors. Sorry.
He didn't decide
the world
anything.
In his left hand, the world in his left hand has men attracted to kids, and the world in his right hand does not have men attracted to kids. God could have actualized a world where men are not attracted to kids, but instead he actualized a world where men are attracted to kids. Unless you have some greater purpose as to why men are attracted to kids, all else held equal, God did something bad by causing the unnecessary suffering associated with pedophiles.
So God did absolutely nothing bad. People who do horrible things to kids are
Please give me an
absolutely
argument.
guilty.
Jury, I appreciate you for the $3 on PayPal.
Well,
Chris, I'm really done with you not giving an
I'm
argument.
explaining to you.
Justin, thank you for the $6.66 on Venmo. I'm getting donations. I'm so sorry. Justin, thank you for the $6.66 on Venmo. I was getting a donation. Go ahead.
It was an argument, right? So when you create a false situation where it's like the only issues going on are like abuse against children. There's 10,000 other shades of evil on this planet that are horrendous, right? But at the end of the day, God is not abusing children. Evil human beings are abusing children, right? So the issue becomes a more accurate comparison is God can have perfection where there's nothing wrong at all, or he can allow a world, he can be the catalyst for a world where the potential for evil to occur. And evil by its nature is reprehensible. That's why evil in its nature is, of course, the abuse of children, which are innocent. It's literally evil attacking what is good. The innocent children are close to God. That's why we naturally, with God ingrained in our programming, revolt and are disgusted by that.
Do you remember?
Because it's an attack on innocence.
Do you want to know why I gave you the?
He also says, those of you who commit things against children, it would have been better for you to have never been born. Meaning the consequence for those who do that is going to be beyond our comprehension.
Do you want to know why I gave you?
God is just.
Do you want to know why I gave you the analogy of me like putting my kid in a room with a pew pew and then blowing their fucking head off when they could have?
I know, and I wanted to give you a better analogy.
So no, the reason that was a great analogy is because you said something very specific that I want to touch on now. You said God isn't raping these children. Evil humans are. You know what we would say in the analogous sense about me putting my kid in the room with a pew pew? I didn't blow my kid's head off. My kid blew his head off. Okay, I'm still responsible for my kid blowing his head off because I allowed my kid to be in the room with a gun. Very similarly, I didn't interrupt you. Very similarly,
I didn't know you were done. Go ahead.
We have already detailed how God could have given us free will without giving adults the ability to be attracted to kids. And it's funny that you bring up scripture.
Detail that. No, we didn't detail that.
Okay, I definitely did detail that to you 2 times already. I will now detail it a third time. So what we are now going to do, Chris, is we are completely going to sidebar all of our conversation.
Okay.
And we are going to focus on this issue.
Going into free will now? We're going to explore free will?
No, we are going to focus. We are going to focus on the same line of reasoning that I've given you twice already as to why God could have given us free will without giving us the ability to be attracted to kids. And I want your response. I've given it to you twice already, but you are now saying that I didn't prove it. You haven't refuted my logic. So now I specifically want you to refute my logic.
Okay,
here's the thing.
Go through it. Yep.
Step number 1. I have free will. You say my free will is not limited. Yet I can go outside, try to jump to the moon, and fail every fucking time.
You said
I cannot freely. I'm going to go ahead and finish what I am saying.
I'm just asking for clarity.
So you say I have free will, but yet every time I try to go outside and jump to the moon, I fail. I cannot freely choose to jump to the moon.
Yes.
You said that we have free will in a context and some of the things are left out of this context. So in other words, God left the ability for me to freely choose to jump to the moon outside of the context of what he considers to be free choice.
Right.
The analogy is God could have made it so every time a man tries to freely choose to be attracted to kids, the man fails. God could have left the ability for us to have, for like really fucked up pedos to have attractions towards minors outside of the context in which he would consider free will, and we would still have free will. So now what I'm going to simply ask of you is to show me how I'm wrong. I want you to demonstrate to me how my logic is flawed, and I want you to demonstrate to me if some people could not choose to be attracted to kids, that they wouldn't have free will.
Yeah, I mean, you're asking me to do something that I don't think you or I can do, which is you're asking me to take the free will, the measure of it that we have in this reality,
so you can see
alter things about it, but yet keep other variables the same.
Is this?
And it honestly, it's a God level task that no human being has comprehension of. But I'll tell you, I'll show you.
So this is you conceding.
Well,
you can't demonstrate to me how my logic is flawed, just to make sure.
I think your entire premise is illogical and lacking, and I'll tell you why.
I know you cannot demonstrate to me how my logic is flawed. Yes or no?
Can I defeat your imaginary scenario? I think your imaginary scenario. I can't deny it or confirm it, and neither can you. Which thus makes it illogical if you're claiming it as confirmed.
In the chat. So now you're saying that hypotheticals are illogical?
I'm saying that hypotheticals are imaginary, right? Like you can create a horse with 20 legs.
Hypotheticals are a test of logic. Hypotheticals are a test of logic. And I actually gave you
isn't logical. Yours isn't logical.
So you have to demonstrate how, though. Remember, you can't just
told you. You're not accounting. You're not accounting for variables, and you're making assumptions that you're going to change.
What's the implicit assumption that I'm making that makes my statement illogical?
That you can change a measure of free will and it not affect God's ultimate purposes.
So this is actually not an assumption that I'm making. This is an assumption that you're making. Okay, because I'm not implying that we would have these variables of what we can and can't do in accordance with our free will to be changed. I'm implying that God could have made it differently to begin with. And then additionally here, you said, well, then the greater purpose of the world might be forsaken if God didn't allow men to be attracted to kids. This is actually a theodicy. Congratulations, Chris.
Theodicy?
This is a response. One second. This is a response. Like what you're saying in some sense is that, well, maybe there's some greater reason why God allows men to be attracted to kids. That is
that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the nature of evil. I'm saying that the nature of evil itself is so repulsive and disgusting that if you're going to change the nature of evil itself and yet claim to keep free will exactly balanced as it is and all other factors, it's just an imaginary scenario you're creating, Dean. And
is it a logically possible scenario?
You can't confirm it any more than I can deny it. So it leaves us at a standstill.
Scenario?
If you're intellectually honest,
Chris, is it a logically possible? Chris, is it a logically possible scenario?
Not that I can see.
So, Chris, if it's not logically possible, that means that the scenario in of itself is contradictory, right? And a contradiction is the affirmation of a premise alongside the negation of a premise. So if you're going to make the positive claim that this scenario is logically impossible, you will have to explicitly state the contradiction in which it would yield. So I will now ask you to explicitly state the contradiction it yields. Keep in mind, Chris, and everyone watching, if he cannot explicitly state the contradiction that the scenario yields, then he has no good reason to say that it's logically impossible, and we can safely assume that it is logically possible due to the lack of a contradiction. So
my issue with your statement is that you're changing variables without considering the other variables that would change when you change those.
Okay, so this is not a logical issue.
Let me answer.
If your issue with the scenario is not that it is logically contradictory, then your issue is not a logical.
It's logically contradictory. That's my whole thing.
So then name the contradiction.
You're not
articulate it.
You are espousing a change while claiming the consistency of all other variables within a system. That system is reality.
So this is not a logical contradiction.
How is it not?
So a logical contradiction is something like a squared circle. A logical contradiction is like the affirmation that it is
a squared circle
at the same time.
It is a squared circle. What you're doing?
A logical contradiction is saying that it is both noon and one, right? And we can formalize these logical contradictions in the following sense. So this item is fully square, and it is true that this item is fully circle. Both of those things can't be true at once. That's what you're doing within your comparison. That's exactly what you're doing. We're going to get there. So, but see how I was able to articulate the contradiction? I want you to do the same thing about my scenario. Articulate the contradiction. Tell me the two statements that I'm affirming as being true that cannot both be true at the same time. Articulate that, make it explicitly clear.
I'm going to give you the best comparison I can. You're saying we have this.
It's not a comparison. No, if you're going to say something that I'm saying is logically contradictory, you have to be able to state the contradiction. You have the burden of proof. Your assessment that it's logically contradictory is a positive claim. You have the burden of proof. State the explicit contradiction. Giving me these comparisons, saying that there's facets I'm not considering for, is not you explicitly stating the contradiction. Go ahead and articulate the explicit logical contradiction. If you can't, you've lost the debate.
Just to be clear, you said a circle cannot be a square, correct?
A circle cannot. Well, it is.
That's a logical impossibility.
It is.
Correct?
It is false. It is false that an item can both be a square and a circle at the same time, due to the fact that this would affirm the contradiction that this item is a square and this item is a circle. So that is how we would formalize the explanation on why a squared circle is logically contradictory. So now, once again, go ahead and explicitly state the contradiction. All right, and us having free will while not being able to choose to be attracted to minors.
Right. So what you're doing is you're taking the world, which is a circle. And then what you're saying is God could make this something else, but keep it the same. And that in itself is you're calling for an imaginary squared circle.
Okay, so you actually can't state the logical contradiction. Let's get some else.
That is the logical contradiction.
Let's get some else in chat. He didn't state the contradiction. Let's get some else in chat. That's what happens, chat. He can't do that shit. He doesn't know logic. He hasn't studied philosophy. He is not up to date with his information. He has not read the literature. Let's get some else in chat for Chris, ladies and gentlemen. At this point, we're going to move on to the next. Chris, you got fucking dunked on. That is how it happens, chat. He says I'm running. I say you got dunked on. I gave you 6, 7, 8, 9 times to specifically state the contradiction, and he couldn't. That is what I like to see, chat. Every single time I can reduce them down to the most illogical shit known to mankind, I take that as a massive W. What's up, Bruce? How old are you?
I'm 19.
Perfect. Do you think that being a lesbian is wrong, sir?
I just came in here to say that I find lesbians really hot, and I love them. I appreciate that.
You find someone's attractions hot. That is so weird. That is so weird to me. You over sexualization of lesbian women is gross. Hi, do you think that it's wrong to be a lesbian?
No, I am one. I was just coming to talk and just say I agreed with you about everything, because it's interesting how you guys were comparing pedophiles and
I gotta kick you off to say that word, but I do appreciate you for the love. I appreciate you for coming up. Wait, honestly, if you were opposition, feel free to hop back in the guest request, because I feel like you're gonna go somewhere where you're like opposition. Feel free to hop back in. What's up, Lily?
So why are you mad about lesbians, for real? Is it mad? Are you mad because you're not getting any? Because that's what it seems like. Honestly, why is being a lesbian wrong? Why is it wrong?
Okay.
Please.
I got a question. How long have you been watching the live?
A really long time.
Okay. Have you ever seen me before today?
Why is being a lesbian wrong?
Ma'am, have you ever seen me before today?
Why is being a lesbian wrong? Tell me.
We'll get there. I just want to ask some clarifying questions.
Tell me. Why is it wrong?
Is this your first time ever seeing me on your For You page?
Why is being a lesbian wrong?
Okay.
Answer my question. Answer my question.
I don't think it's wrong to be a lesbian. Is this your first?
Why are you making the live? You are contradicting yourself. I feel like you're just sincerely mad because you're not getting any pussy. That's what it feels like. Because you're saying it's wrong, but you just said it's not wrong.
So where am I saying that being a lesbian is wrong?
Right above your fucking head. So why is being a lesbian wrong? Why is it wrong?
Okay.
Why is it wrong?
Hey, is this your first time ever seeing me on your For You page?
Why is being a lesbian wrong?
But I just want to get.
Why is being a lesbian wrong?
I want to see.
Why is being a lesbian wrong?
Didn't I just tell you I don't think?
Why is being a lesbian wrong?
It's not.
Then why do you have a problem? Why are you making this live? What's the point?
Because I want to debate people that think it's wrong.
That doesn't seem like it. It really doesn't.
Okay. Once again, how many times have you seen me pop up on your For You page in the past?
Too many fucking times. And it's getting annoying because why
clicked in and watched any?
Why are you mad that people are lesbians? Because I've seen you kick like 5 people off for being wrong.
You've seen me kick people off when I was wrong?
Yeah, Because they were wrong.
Oh,
You said they were wrong. In your words, they were wrong.
They were wrong because they thought being a lesbian was wrong. They had a wrong belief.
Dude, no. Because I've been watching this live and you're fucking talking about, oh, being a lesbian's wrong.
Listen,
like, get
hey,
your fucking
Liliana,
shit straight.
I have a proposition.
Get your shit straight.
Do you want to hang out with me up here for a minute and co-host and just sit there? Just for like a little bit?
For why?
I just want to maybe expose you to, the work I do here. Let's just give Liana a little bit of a run through of the work we do here.
Because I've been watching this and so far it looks like you're just being fucking blatantly rude.
Hey, daughter of God, how old are you?
I'm 18.
Awesome. Do you think that being a lesbian is wrong?
I do.
Okay, why so?
Because tell me in the Bible where it explicitly says that it's okay for lesbians to.
Ooh, I actually have a Bible right now.
Okay, Leila, I'm just going to put you on mute. I just want you to listen. So you're asking me, tell me where in the Bible it specifically says it is not wrong. So a couple things here. First, I'm not a Christian. I don't think the Christian God exists, and I have sufficient reason to believe that it's impossible for the Christian God to exist. But even in supposition of the existence of the Christian God, it is still very silly for you to assume that something is wrong if it's not stated in the Bible that it's not. Like, for instance, where does it state in the Bible that it is not wrong to own a MacBook? Where does it state in the Bible that it is not wrong to be a 19-year-old white boy from Colorado named Dean Withers streaming on TikTok? Where does it state in the Bible that it is not wrong to own a Shure mic? Okay, so the Bible specifically tells us what is wrong. So I'll just simply ask you in return, can you tell me a verse in the Bible that says being a lesbian is wrong?
Yeah. Leviticus 18:22 says, "You shall not lie with a male as with a woman."
Yeah, so I got it. You don't need. Okay, you might get a flag for that. Might need to kick you. It's fine. Hey, so you think that the book of Leviticus in the Christian Bible is accurate in telling us what's morally right and wrong? So this is problematic because Leviticus 25 verse 44, God says that it is morally acceptable to own literal fucking slaves for life. So if you're gonna say that you use Leviticus 18 to tell you that it's wrong to be lesbian, my question to you is, do you use Leviticus 25 to tell you that it is not wrong to own slaves?
Well, have you ever read about the story of Moses in Egypt and King Pharaoh?
Yeah, so that's when the story of Moses in Egypt is when God sent Moses to free the Israelite slaves from the tyrannical rule of the Egyptians, which makes it fucking worse because when God freed the Israelite slaves, he turned around to the Israelites and was like, hey, y'all can enslave literally whoever you want, just make sure they're not an Israelite. So not only was God hypocritical in the sense that he allowed for slavery in the context of his chosen people owning his non-chosen people as slaves, but then he fucking destroyed the Egyptian society, unleashing plagues, famines that killed all their infant newborn sons, all for the purpose that his people were enslaved. This is incredibly tyrannical and hypocritical. But I will ask you once again, when God says that chattel slavery is okay in Leviticus 25, do you think that this is a good reference to hold to the position that slavery is okay?
You said Leviticus 25, that's where it states that.
44 through 46. In fact, it sounds like you have a Bible on you. Why don't you read it out loud for us all?
You said 44 through 46, yes?
Yeah, also, guys, if anyone wants to support me, my Venmo, my PayPal, or my bio, y'all, I'll give you a shout out. If you want to attach a message, I'll even read it off on live. I love y'all the most. But yeah, go ahead and read that off for us.
And as for your male and female slaves whom you have from the nations that are around you, from them you may buy male and female slaves.
Yeah, rough, right? So, okay. You cited Leviticus 18:22 to tell us that it's wrong to be a lesbian. Leviticus 25:44 says that it's not wrong to own slaves. So are you going to follow Leviticus 25:44 like you follow Leviticus 18:22?
Well, in Leviticus 25:39, it says, "And if one of your brethren who dwells by you become poor and sells himself to you, you shall not compel him to serve as a slave."
Yeah. But remember how in 44 it said that you could only buy slaves from the nations around you? That's because God said that you can't own people from your same nation as a slave, but you can own people from different nations as slaves. Where else have we seen this from history? What's the transatlantic slave trade? Did the white people in America go to other nations around them to buy slaves? Did the white people in America not enslave other white people from America? You know, see what I mean here? Hey, anyways, haven't answered the big pressing question I've had this whole time though. Are you going to follow Leviticus 25:44 about slaves the same way you're going to follow Leviticus 18:22? And if you're not going to answer that question, I could just simply ask you, do you think it is just as likely that it is wrong to be lesbian as it is likely that it is not wrong to own a slave?
Well, in Leviticus, they have their Levitical laws, and that was for that time, right?
So then why did you give me Levitical law in the context of Leviticus 18 if that is not for our time?
Well, then there's 1 Corinthians 6:9-10, which also states the same thing.
Okay, but if you read the original Greek scripture of 1 Corinthians 6:9, you would know that the word used, aka malakoi, does not denote men sleeping with men, but rather men sleeping with boys or prostitution. So we have some issues here, right? I mean, you got to read the original text, man. And by the way, this is all under the presupposition that I will accept the existence of the Christian God. I reject that. I don't even think that the Bible is accurate in telling us what's morally right and wrong. I think even if the Bible said verbatim that it's wrong to be lesbian, no exceptions, that this still wouldn't tell us that it is truly wrong, because the God's not real. Why would I accept text on paper by man?
Well, God spoke to the people who wrote the Bible. He spoke to them, and
How do you know that God's real?
And they wrote the word.
And how do you know that the Christian God is real?
Have you ever, like, witnessed somebody in the presence of God?
So
have
I seen miracles happen? I have. What I would explain to be a natural phenomenon with no readily available explanation. You know that the ancient Aztecs and Mayans thought that thunder was a miracle, and that's why they created deities just to explain it. Same thing with the ancient Greeks. They thought tidal waves were a miracle, so they created a god named Poseidon to explain them. People do this all the time. It's called the God of the Gaps fallacy. Then additionally here, not to mention that followers of other religions also report miracles, such as like Muslims. So it's just an unconvincing evidentiary standard for any religion, truly.
Oh, okay. So can I clarify?
Yeah, sure. What do you want to clarify?
Okay. Have you seen? Can you explain why through prayer somebody's limb can grow back, or
I don't think it can. I don't think that's true.
I've seen it happen.
I'm gonna go.
Tell me it can't happen.
I'm gonna go ahead and just put you on the hot seat here. Give us literally any reason to believe this.
Y'all don't have to believe me. I've seen demons casted out of people. I've seen somebody who had surgery done in their leg, and they had like screws and metal bars and stuff, right?
How many people are in the world?
Like 8-something billion.
Okay. So you are one person out of a world of 8 billion, and you proclaim that you have seen multiple unexplainable true miracles throughout your life. What do you think the likelihood is of other people not only seeing these miracles, but documenting them, peer-reviewing them, and cross-referencing them with the academic documentation from others on miracles? What do you think the likelihood would that be if you, one person, has seen like 4 or 5 miracles throughout your lifetime and there's 8 billion people on Earth? Pretty high, right? So if true miracles were to occur, the likelihood that there would be academic and scientific documentation of them would be insanely fucking high. Almost to a point where we'd be able to prove that God exists. But we don't have that documentation at all. So this shows that this would refute the original claim that miracles happen to begin with.
So you're saying that since nothing is like recorded of miracles taking place, that they just don't happen?
It makes it incredibly unlikely for them to occur. But even if I grant you that you did witness true miracles, this doesn't prove that the Christian God exists. Why couldn't the Islamic God be a sufficient explanation for the miracles? Why couldn't the Greek gods be a sufficient explanation for the miracles? Why couldn't my God, Jesus Christ, who says in the Bible that being lesbian is not wrong, be a sufficient explanation for the miracles? What you have to show me is that your hypothesis of the Christian God carries much more evidentiary weight than all the other gods that could be conceived of by the human mind to explain these miracles, but you can't. So we just go down to the conclusion that you have no sufficient reason to take the words of the Bible as an objective standard for morality. If you're unprepared to answer, no worries.
Why don't you believe that God is real?
Good question. We don't have any sufficient evidence to indicate that he is. Oh, no, Liliana left. Liliana, please come back. I wanted to talk to you when I'm done talking to her. Liliana, you should hop back in the guest requests. Unfortunate, man.
So you don't believe that God exists because there's no, like, substantial evidence?
Yeah, why don't you believe that unicorns exist?
Because they just don't. Like, what?
Because we don't have any substantial evidence to indicate that they do. Perfect response. See, why don't you think that the Islamic God exists? Why don't you think that the Greek? No substantial evidence. Crazy thought, huh? But then as soon as we're talking about, the Christian God, it doesn't really matter that there's no substantial evidence, I guess.
Give me 1 second. Hold on.
Hey, if you're unprepared for this conversation, I can move on to the next guest.
No, I'm saying just give me a second. I'm gonna look for it. Come on.
Okay, she's flipping through the page of the Bibles. Let's see if we could get Liliana. Okay, I want to get Liliana back in. While you're looking for that, I'm just gonna go ahead and talk to Liliana for like 3 seconds here. Liliana, do you see the point of these lives now?
No, because for half the time my volume was muted. Because it said that you kicked me. I don't know if that's like actually true, but it said you kicked me for bullying and harassment whenever I wasn't talking.
Oh, no, you got you got flagged by TikTok for bullying me, probably. I think you're calling me dumb. It's okay. I forgive you. But the point is, before you got that flag and got removed by TikTok, were you able to listen and see the reason why I host these lives and how I actually don't think that being a lesbian is wrong? And in fact, I debate against people who do, and I try to get them to understand that they have no good reason to hold their prejudice.
Like I said, no, because my volume cut out.
Liliana. Okay, I'm just actually going to kick her this time. Unfortunate. I tried, chat. I tried, everyone. Welcome back. What's your response?
Okay, so in John 1, verse 1, it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him nothing was made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of man. Right?
You said that's John 1?
Yeah, John 1, verse 1 through 5.
All right, are you ready for this? I'm going to need you to give me about 10 seconds here. Hey, guys, in the next 10 seconds, make sure that we're double tapping on that phone screen. Then also, Cody, thank you for the $6.66 on Venmo. Let's get some W Codys and some W666. I appreciate you for the love. I'm going to use that to buy food right after I get off live. I'm so fucking hungry. Thank you. So I'm actually doing something right now. We're just going to do a little Control F, God. And we're going to do that. We're going to go here, do that. All right. So I want to go ahead and read this out to you. Let me, do you see this text here? I'm going to go ahead and read that out to you. So it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Dean, and the Word was Dean. He was with Dean in the beginning. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made. Adam, thank you for the $5 on Venmo. W. Adam, thank you so much. In him was life, and that life was the light of all mankind. The light shines in darkness, and darkness is not overcome. Justin, thank you so much for the $6.66 on Venmo. W. Justin, W666. Kai, thank you for the $4.44 on Venmo. We love you, bro. I love you too, Kai. So can you please tell me what the difference is between you reading off John 1 and me reading off Denalations?
Because you're not God.
Okay. Listen, you're trying to...
How would you be God?
You know what? You're trying really hard, and I respect that. We're just going to move on to the next guest. Let's go to see what our next guest has to say. If we are in those guest requests, make sure that we do indeed think that being a lesbian is wrong. We tried, guys. We tried. Moving on here, y'all. Let's try to get up to 200K likes. Also, if you're enjoying the content, hit that follow button. This is a new account, so there's a good chance that you don't follow this account. Very fun, very fun. Let's go ahead and see what our next guest has to say. Let's go and get Melody M up in here. You seem lost? You seem lost.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, Melody? How old are you?
19.
Perfect. Do you think that being a lesbian is wrong?
Yes. And before I continue with this, I just want to say, is this what you do every day? You have multiple Bibles and you have your scripture tabs ready just to try and prove people wrong. Instead of trying to do that, what you need to do is moisturize your ashy ass ankles and get rid of them cracks in your elbows, you big ass bitch.
Okay. So she was doing really well there, but then she kind of lost it. I didn't kick her. She was really trying, but then something happened there about halfway through. Maze, thank you so much for the you're amazing. Like, I wanted her to keep going, bro. But yeah, I sit on here for 4 hours every day doing what I love. I love having intellectual conversations with people. I love having debates. I love proving people wrong. And I love showing people that they shouldn't be prejudiced against individuals in the LGBTQ plus community. I love it so much. On top of that, it's my job, which I'm also very happy about, by the way. I am so incredibly lucky and happy for the position that I'm in. I get paid for my time from you guys. I love you all so much for it. What's up, man? Do you think that being a lesbian is wrong? Alexis, it's so good to see you. Thank you for the you're amazing, Alexis. Make sure that I want to make sure I follow you on this account. Yeah, what's going on? Do you think that being a lesbian is wrong?
Yeah, so I had a question for you on your topic. When you were talking about free will, you used the example that if God gave you free will to, say, jump to the moon and you couldn't jump to the moon, you wouldn't have free will. I disagree with that point for the fact that free will doesn't mean
AIE, I'm going to go ahead and kick you because apart from you, just like I'll put it out there. I'm not blaming you for this. You did misunderstand that conversation, and that's just not what I was saying. But I don't really feel like going over that again. I just want to say relevant to the topic. Bun, thank you for the you're amazing. Thank you so much. What's up, LL? How old are you?
I'm 20.
Perfect. Do you think that being a lesbian is wrong?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely wrong. It's disgusting. Like, there shouldn't.
Right. So here's what we're gonna go ahead and do real quick. So you're saying it's absolutely wrong. First of all, I need you to be able to compose yourself with decorum. Like, coming out of the gate saying it's gross and disgusting. That's the shit that'll get the life taken down. All right.
My bad. I'm on here trolling. Like, I am a lesbian, so it's just funny.
Appreciate you for coming up, LL. We're gonna go to move on to the next guest. I mean, to each their own. I wouldn't do that, but you know, hey, who am I to say that? We're gonna go to move on to our next guest. What's up? How old are you?
21.
Awesome. Do you think that being a lesbian is wrong?
Let me just clarify. I'm here to discuss. I'm not necessarily set on a point, but I would lean towards that way. Yes, that would be my.
Cool. Maybe I could change your mind, man. So why do you think it's wrong? Why are you leaning towards that way? Give me the reason. Let's talk about it.
It's actually not the God thing. I'm not going to go that route.
Perfect. Thank you. I'm getting really tired of that conversation.
I do believe in God, but on this point, I actually kind of agree with you that it doesn't say anything about it in the Bible. So I'm not going to go into that. But I just think it's more of a family situation. Like, I just don't think two females are going to be able to raise a child as well as a male and female.
Okay, so yeah, do you have any data to support your claim? Because when we're talking about how parents raise children and child outcomes, there's $1 billion industries that have hundreds of thousands of medical health practitioners and researchers actually study this. Would you be able to give me an academic study that tells us that the child raising outcomes of two moms is worse than a dad and a mom?
I would not not off the top of my head. No.
Okay. So
I do know. I do know this, right? So
I could give you real quick. I want you to be able to make your point, but before you do, I could give you a lot of data that supports the idea that two moms raising a kid have the same child outcomes as a mom and a dad, right? Like, for instance, Non-Traditional Families and Childhood Progress Through School, Common and Rosenfield, written by C. Pollock and D.W. Allen in 2012, right? Basically, observed children in school and then, put them in categories based upon, the sexual orientations of the parents and then observed the outcomes and saw no different depending upon heterosexual or homosexual like parents. And then we also have like lesbian and gay parents in early childhood settings, a systemic review of the research literature published in Journal of Early Childhood Research by A. Hedge, J. Smith, and P. Everett, which show the same exact outcomes. In fact, if you want to read through an extensive list of about 20 sources that would state the same thing, go to @Parker Get a Job, go to his bibliography in his bio, go to sources and click LGBTQ plus citations, and you'll find an extensive list of research that adamantly disproves and refutes the claim you're making.
All right, sure. I just have a question for you, and I'm not trying to prove a point here. I'm generally just asking you a question. So, parents who are divorced, right? I would assume have a worse bring up than parents who are together. Is that true?
They do. Yes, because what we see is that there is very recognizable differences if a child is being raised by two parents in comparison to one parent. The outcomes are always worse if they're being raised by, well, not always, are generally worse if they're being raised by one parent in comparison to two. But the thing is, the sexual orientation or the dynamic of the two parents in comparison to one doesn't matter. It could be two dads, two moms, a mom and a dad. It will always be better than being raised by like one dad or one mom. And that is what I'm saying. But when we look at two dads in comparison to two moms in comparison to a dad and a mom, the outcomes of the children are always the same.
Okay. All right, that's a good point. I'll admit.
Yeah, anything else you want to go over, man?
I know you want to stick to the topic. I think I could maybe debate you better on the free will thing, if you want to go into that.
No, we're just gonna stick on the topic right now. I appreciate you for coming up there, brother.
All right, man. Peace out.
All right. We're going to move on to our next guest here, guys. If we are on those guest requests, make sure that we do indeed think that being a lesbian is wrong. If y'all want to support me, my Venmo as well as my PayPal are in my bio. You know what? This started as a hobby, but now I'm doing it full time, and I appreciate all the love and support that y'all show over those platforms. I just want to point that out, but obviously don't feel like obliged to. I saw someone in my Discord saying, I can't wait until the day until I could donate to Dean. Don't think like that, guys.
Lick my balls.
If you can't donate, literally don't worry about it at all. I just wanted to point that out as a PSA for everyone listening. I appreciate everyone nonetheless. But hey, so does this mean that you're like pro LGBTQ plus? Like lick your balls? Okay. Crystal, thank you for the $20 on Venmo. Crystal says thank you for supporting the community. I love you, Crystal. W Crystal in the chat. Let's go, guys. W Crystal in the chat. Thank you for the $20 on Venmo. You're so kind. W Crystal, thank you. Hey, what's up, Brandon? How old are you? Bradley, thank you so much for the money gun. I appreciate you for the 15. W Fetus. Oh wait, L Fetus. Get out of here, Bradley. All right, you got to be at least 18 to be in the guest request. If you are a literal preemie, do not request. Hey, what's up? How old are you?
I'm 18.
Perfect. Do you think that it is wrong to be a lesbian?
No.
W. All right, we're gonna move on to our next guest. Real quick, for everyone in the guest request, if you are friendly, if you don't think that it's wrong, I'll just politely ask you to leave. We're just looking for some debates here. Yo, Summer! Summer, thank you so much for the $50 on Venmo. That's fucking insane, Summer. I see that you attached a message there. I'm actually going to go ahead and load up Venmo on my computer just so I can read that out. But that's absolutely insane. Thank you so much for the love. Let's get a massive W, Summer. Thank you so much. But what's up, YLC? How old are you?
Hi, I'm French. I'm 21. What's your point? What is your point?
That being a lesbian is not wrong, and I don't think that there's any demonstrable reason as to why it would be. Do you disagree?
There's no reason, my guy. I thought you were thinking that.
WYLC. All right, moving on here. Summer says, hey, dude, love the TikTok lives, your debates, spice up work, and I appreciate your commitment to the subject. Summer, I appreciate you so much for your support. And yeah, I'm glad that my debates can spice up your work shift. I have known a lot of people that watch my lives religiously when they're at work, and they say it makes it go quicker. I'm so happy that seems to be one of you. It spices it up. Thank you for the love, Summer. What's up? How old are you?
18.
Perfect. What year were you born in? Oh, shit. I just unplugged it. What was that?
03.
What year? 03? Yeah, you could have been born in 03 and be 18. I do appreciate you for coming up here. Moving on to our next guest here, y'all. Everyone just give us a minute. Please don't lie about your age, like I'll obviously figure out. Let's go ahead and see what Lat Rat has to say. My mic unplugged here. I'm currently getting that worked out, so just give me a minute. What's up, Lat Rat? How old are you?
I'm 22.
Perfect. Do you think that being a lesbian is wrong, sir?
Well, my beliefs, yes, but I'm not really going to go into that. But
okay, so why do you think being a lesbian is wrong?
well, I think in a way, naturally it's not. I mean, naturally it is because, well, my views on being lesbian, because of course, basically your purpose for most people in life is to reproduce. It's
Gerard, I appreciate you for the $10 on Venmo. Let's get a W, Gerard, in that comment section, and thank you so much for the $10. I saw you attached a message as well. I'll make sure I read that off at the end of the debate. I'm going to start doing that with everyone. All right, you said that the purpose of us all is to reproduce. Would you say it would be like morally wrong for me to marry an infertile woman?
What do you mean? I can't hear very well right now.
Would it be morally wrong for me to marry an infertile woman?
No, not specifically.
Yeah, but we wouldn't be able to reproduce, though, which would be contrary to your original claim about the purpose of humanity. So this just shows me that you're special plein when you're talking about two lesbians. Like, you're like, oh, it's so wrong because they can't reproduce. But then if you're straight and you happen to be in a relationship where you can't reproduce, who gives a shit, right? That's a logical contradiction. It shows us your prejudice.
Yeah, but I'll say on this with me. I think in a way, when you're lesbian, you should be, because actually, if you don't know, there's been debates on it. There's also animals are also, there's a lot of animals as gay.
Oh, don't say that word. Just say the word lesbian. That word gets a life flagged.
Oh yeah, sorry.
You're good.
Animals are also gay. It's a percentage.
No, I literally just told you not to say that. You're kicked. Like, bro, come on. We're going to move on to our next guest, y'all. Just a little bit of a TSA there, y'all. TikTok does flag the word GAY. It's just something that can't be said on the live or it will get flagged. We're going to move on to the next guest. What's up? How old are you?
18.
Yeah, awesome. Do you think that being a lesbian is wrong, sir?
I like girls who like girls.
Yeah, I bet they don't like you back. Stop over-sexualizing them. Thanks. Moving on to our next guest. Thank you for the had a mustache. We're going to move on to our next guest. Definitely not here, y'all. We are just looking for some debates, y'all. Also, guys, make sure that we're double tapping away on that phone screen. Let's go and see what our next guest has to say. All right, y'all. Also, guys, we're going to do a little bit of a quick engagement thing for the live to hopefully send out to some more people. Go ahead and, well, actually, I can't even run that right now. What's up, Vincent? How old are you?
21.
Sweet. Do you think that being a lesbian is wrong?
Personally, you're going to come at me with this, but my opinion would be it is.
Yeah, why so?
Just like the guy before.
Yeah, so why do you think that it's wrong to be lesbian, sir?
All right, so I'm gonna say the same thing then, reproduction wise too.
Yeah, is it wrong for me to marry and engage in intercourse with an infertile woman?
It actually wouldn't be wrong because what happens is as humans we can choose our companion.
Yeah, but what you're telling me here is that it's not wrong for me to marry and engage in intercourse with an infertile woman, but that would be wrong for a woman. But there's no difference in the reproductive outcomes of these things. Essentially, you're saying it's wrong to be lesbian because if you're a lesbian, you can't reproduce. But it's not wrong for me to marry and engage in intercourse with an infertile woman, even though if I was to do just that, I wouldn't be able to reproduce. So you're being a hypocrite, and you're only judging one of these two things based upon their outcome, which shows that you're merely prejudiced against lesbians.
Could I make a counter then?
Yes.
All right. So let's just say then I'll own up and say I'm a hypocrite because I'm entitled to an opinion then.
Oh, yeah, you're entitled to your prejudice? Yeah, sir. No, you're not. What's the difference between you and a white supremacist prejudice against black people? Show me the relevant distinction that makes you just and them unjust.
Okay, you got me there then. You got me
there
there.
is none. And if you can't tell me the relevant distinction between you and a white supremacist, maybe you should change your belief system. Just saying.
Yes, that's why I'm doing this conversation with you to just how you like debate. I want to debate too then, civilly then.
I'm sorry if I'm coming off a little bit rude.
No, you're good.
It's something I've been working on,
No,
but it seems like you're being honest, and I appreciate you for that, man.
This is very good because I'm taking a class called Christian Values and Biblical Faith, and I go to Christian college, and I'm not so sure about the faith though because being raised in Christian environment makes you question stuff. But I will say though that I have looked at other stuff, and then there's like Charles Darwin with his theory on survival and all of that, and survival of the fittest. And I do believe that there are gender roles, and you're probably gonna say something different then because you just rolled your eyes. So I guess you have to go with your point now with that then.
Okay, so tell me what these gender roles are, and tell me how they make two women being together wrong.
Okay, fine then. All right, so I would say the gender roles are that people are gonna flame me for this probably then, but that there's male and then there's female then.
Those are not gender roles. That's sex. That's biological sex, not gender roles.
Yes. Well, yeah. Sorry, thank you for correcting me, though. But so there's male and then there's female then, and the role would be then that the male and the female get together and then they get to have offspring, and then it just keeps repeating like that then.
Yeah, you said you're Christian. Do you happen to be Catholic?
I am actually not Catholic. I grew up Catholic though, so
yeah. Do you think it's wrong to be a Catholic priest?
That's a touchy subject, and that's one of the reasons why I left the Catholic Church. So it's a good point that you bring up.
Well, the point that I'm bringing up here specifically is Catholic priests never marry a woman because according to the faith, they're in a relationship with God. And the point is, if you're saying that there's these roles where man and woman get together and reproduce, well, you're going to have to say it's just as wrong to be a Catholic priest as it is to be a lesbian because both of those individuals seemingly are violating these two roles. Another thing is, do you think that it is wrong to be celibate?
Okay. So then I'll bring up first the celibate thing then. Being celibate then is the other option we can have as human beings. It's rather we can be reproductive. That can be our role because we have a mandate given to us as humans to reproduce. Or
hey, I'm so sorry, man. Ian, thank you for the $10 on PayPal. I appreciate you for the love. W Ian in that comment section. I also see that you attached there. Love you, Dean. I love you too, Ian. Let's show some love to Ian in that chat. I'm sorry for interrupting you, man. Go ahead.
I'll repeat. Did you hear what I said then, or do you want me to repeat it again?
Yeah. So you're talking about celibacy. So do you think that it is like morally wrong to be celibate?
I don't actually think it's morally wrong because I have an aunt that she didn't get the chance to marry and she didn't want to, and I know people that they don't want to have kids or they don't want to do sexual stuff, and I think everybody has a calling though. That would be my answer then for that though. Also for the priest question too. It's a question of calling then.
What's the difference between your aunt and a lesbian then? Because you're saying your aunt is celibate. She does not meet your criteria for these gender roles of being with a man and reproducing, just like the lesbian would. But you're saying that like nothing's wrong about your aunt not doing this, so therefore there shouldn't be anything wrong about a lesbian not doing this, right? And Milani, I appreciate you for the $15 on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love, Milani. W Milani in that chat. Thank you for the love. Massive W Milani, y'all. But like overall, my point here is I understand that you're saying men are supposed to be with women and they're supposed to be like procreate. I personally disagree with that, but we don't even need to attack that right now.
Yes.
More so, the fact is that there are so many different sections of humans that fall outside of these categories. Celibate men, celibate women. Good examples of celibate men and women: Catholic priests and Catholic nuns. Infertile people, they can't procreate. Right? There's so many men who marry infertile women. All men or women who are married to infertile women after the woman is above the age of about 55 and they go through menopause, because all women become infertile when they go through menopause, etc. But you do not have any type of feelings about any of these people. You say there's nothing wrong with being celibate. There's nothing wrong with being infertile. There's nothing wrong with not getting married. There's nothing wrong with not reproducing. But all of a sudden, when we start talking about lesbians, it's an issue. And that is what I'm calling prejudice.
Yes. Okay. Then you or anyone else can have the right to say that I'm prejudiced with that then. And I would like to say though that if someone is lesbian, then I will love them and I will treat them like any other human being. But then I have my beliefs then that men are created to help procreate and that women are created to nurture and deliver children into this world then.
Okay, so unfortunately, it is not good. Well, actually, not unfortunately. I'm being too kind. Fortunately, it is not good for you to say that women are nothing more than incubators for birth. That's incredibly misogynistic. This has perpetuated the systemic marginalization of women across the globe for centuries. This is why we haven't seen women in positions of power. This is why we haven't seen it be legal for Leeds Grammar School. Leeds, I go there. Hey, crazy. This is why. Sorry, that caught me off deck. Sorry. This is why we see like until like the earlier 20th century, women weren't able to own property. Women were not able to divorce a man. They were considered legal property of marriage. They couldn't vote. Rape wasn't illegal in the context of marriage until the late 20th century, etc. All these forms of systemic oppression have arrived from the basis of men looking at women and being like, "Hey, you're nothing more than an incubator for my baby," and that's the issue, sir. Mike, thank you so much for all the you're amazings. Let's get some W mics. I appreciate you so much. Massive W mics, y'all. Massive W mics in that chat. I got you with a follow, bro. Actually, I already do follow you. You're awesome, Mike. And like, I don't think that we should uphold these societal expectations of what we think a man should do or what we think a woman should do, because at the end of the day, we are all more than our gender identity or biological sex. The hole we piss out of doesn't determine what we are good at or what we're not good at. And perpetuating any other system is not only prejudice, does not only reduce to harm, but it's also just incredibly inefficient for the success of a society.
Yes. You just hit below the belt, but I like that you did that right now, though. So then I'd have to say then that wasn't the point I was trying to make, though, that women are incubators, though, because I love my woman. And I respect them, though. My mom is one of the people in the world that I respect the most, and the same would be with my sisters and aunts. And I do believe, though, that women are given a role that is greater, and that would be then. It's not just
Ian. Thank you so much for the glowing jellyfish, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah, the role for women is not just only to bear children, but it's to nurture and to create a family, and then that can also be then to work to as an addition.
Yeah. So is it wrong to be infertile as a woman since they can't do that?
I would say it's not wrong to be that, though. Everybody has their counted blessings, though.
Okay, so then it's not wrong to be lesbian, even though apparently, according to you, they can't do that, which they can.
Wait, repeat the question, please.
So then, why is it wrong to be a lesbian? Thank you for the. I mean, apart from them definitely being able to meet your like very arbitrary criteria, lesbians do have kids, lesbians do have families, etc. Like the point is here, if you're gonna say it's not wrong to be an infertile woman, even though they can't meet your mark, why would you say that it's wrong to be lesbian because they can't meet your mark?
I will say that, though, because if at the end of the day, then let's just say men get wiped out and it's just women, then at one point then the human race will be done, unless if we have semen collected then.
Okay, so point number one, if all men were wiped out tomorrow and we had just women, humanity would die off, but this doesn't mean that it's wrong to be a lesbian, because if all those women were straight, they'd still die off. Point number two, if all fertile people died tomorrow and only the infertile people lived, humanity would die off, but yet you don't think infertility is wrong. Aniston, thank you so much for the money gun. W. Anna.
Interesting point, then.
I mean, think about it. You have these two categories. You're saying, oh, if everyone was lesbian tomorrow, the entirety of humanity would die. I think that's descriptively wrong. They could use, they can use IVF and surrogacy to procreate, as well as there's very French research on using stem cells and bone marrow to procreate without the use of semen, but that's irrelevant. The point here is, if everyone tomorrow became infertile, humanity would die, but yet you have no prejudice, no qualms, and no statements about infertility being morally wrong in any sense of the word. So you should, unless you want to be hypocritical to a certain degree, you should say that same thing about being a lesbian.
But what would be the same thing for being a lesbian then?
Okay, because even if we were to assume that you're right, if everyone, thank you guys so much for the gifts, Ian, everyone, I appreciate y'all so much. Because even if we were to assume, thank you for the cowboy hat, that if everyone was lesbian, everyone would die. Thank you for the massage, Naomi. This doesn't make being a lesbian wrong, because the same thing could be said about infertility. If everyone was infertile, everyone would die, but you don't think infertility is wrong. Do we see that logic now?
Now I do. You're making it seem like I'm prejudiced and everything, but
you are.
It does.
You're open-minded. As a human, it seems, but you are prejudiced.
As a human, I am prejudiced, though, because everybody's gonna like something different, though.
Yeah. This is why racism exists. This is why prejudice as a whole exists in all these different contexts. But the point is to beat it, to become educated and learn and stop impacting marginalization and harm onto the lives of people because of a trait they can't control and that does not harm you back. Okay. Thank you for the sunglasses, and that's the point.
I do like that point, though. I will take that point now, and I do like that I'm having this conversation with you, though, because right now I'm reading a book on Christian faith. Let me see if I got it.
Yeah, okay. Hey, man,
I'm questioning it in the process.
About Christian faith, feel free to... No! He got banned! Oh! He got banned. All right, and we got a flag. That probably means that the live is going to get taken down here soon. So, if it does, we'll be back in 10 minutes. L TikTok. We're going to go to move on to our next guest at this point, but I did want to say, Gerard, I saw your message here. You said I twiddle my thumbs waiting for you to go live. I'm sure it goes with a lot of people. Gerard, I really appreciate you for watching the lives. I appreciate you for the $10 over Venmo as well. And thank you, everyone, for the gifts as well. You have really been showing some crazy love. We're going to go ahead and head on to our next guest at this point, y'all. We're in those guest requests to make sure that we do indeed think that it is wrong to be a lesbian. We're going to go to move on to E. We've been live for about 2 hours at this point. I don't know how long we're going to go tonight. I'd honestly like to do a little bit of a longer stream, though, so that'd be fun. Let's go ahead and see what our next guest of the night has to say. I do kind of have to go pee, so I guess we'll see how that works out. All right, we're moving on to our next guest. For everyone curious about if I'm against lesbians, I'm not, dude. Watch for 10 minutes, please, before you... Hi, how old are you?
Hey, what's up, man? I'm 30.
Carla, thank you for the $5 on Venmo. She says, Zaddy Dean. I appreciate you for the love, Carla. Awesome, bro. Do you think that it is wrong to be a lesbian?
I do think it's wrong, but I don't think it should be illegal.
Okay, good to know. Great to know. So why do you think that being a lesbian is wrong?
I'll tell you why. But the reason why I don't think it should be illegal or it should be banned.
I just want to know why you think it's wrong. I'm unconcerned. Why you don't think it should be illegal? Nice. So why do you think it's wrong?
I think it's wrong because let's say if you were to take the pleasure aspect out of sex, right? I would say no one would practice that, lesbian or GAY. No one would practice that. But
I don't really see how this. I don't see how this point is relevant. But I may disagree. I think people engage in intercourse for a purpose of love bonding, right? But ultimately, I'd say that I engage in intercourse with my girlfriend for the purpose of pleasure in the form of love bonding with her. But anyways, continue.
Yeah, so that's my main reason. If you were to take out pleasure completely out of sex, the only reason people would engage in sex is for procreation. Aside from that, people would not engage.
Okay, and how does this make being a lesbian wrong? What is wrong with engaging in intercourse for the sole purpose of pleasure?
Yeah, I think they're doing it for pleasure.
Okay, yeah, why is that wrong? Hey, I fuck my girlfriend all the time for pleasure. Whoa, hey, why is it wrong?
Yeah, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, right?
What? No, you can't come up here to tell me that it is not wrong for me to engage in intercourse with my girlfriend solely for the purpose of pleasure. With us both not ever wanting to have children, but then turn around and say it is wrong for two women to do the exact same thing. The only difference here is that it is two women in comparison to a man and a woman, which simply shows you are merely prejudiced towards lesbians. Also, sorry, chat. Listen, overshared. My bad. But we will never forget POP. Do we remember POP, chat? Hey, anyway, sorry, continue. I want you to address my point, though. You're like, it is wrong for lesbians to engage in intercourse because they're only doing it for the reason of pleasure. But you'd say it wouldn't be wrong for me to engage in intercourse with my girlfriend if I were to figure out that she's infertile, even though we'd only be doing it for pleasure. What's the relevant distinction?
I would say the relevant distinction is that overall, you know what? You got a good point. That's actually a very good point. So
it is. It is a good point, indeed.
So
if you don't have a response, I can move on to the next guest.
I do kind of have a response, but it'll be getting off topic. So yeah, it'll be better if you move on to the next guest.
All right, brother. Well, I appreciate you for coming up.
All right, man. Take care.
Take care. All right, moving on to our next guest here. Chat, I am being very calm today. Ain, thank you so much for the $10 on Venmo. Ain actually said, that's crazy. You seem much calmer today than you usually are. Aim, I appreciate you so much for the $10 on Venmo. WAIM in the comment section. And I am usually not this calm, but y'all, when do I usually have people I'm debating tell me that I have good points? The last two guests have been like, that is a good point. Chat, this is the strat. Low key, this is the strat right here. This is the strat. Oh, good Lord. Beautiful. All right, moving on to our next guest, Romeo. Let's go ahead and see what he has to say here, chat. Hell yeah, it's been a good day. I've been having fun. I am a little bit hungry. I have not ate today. I also need to go to the bathroom, so I may low-key take a break to do that here soon. I don't want to end the live, though, so I guess we'll just have to see what I do. Hi, Sarah. Yo, Tara! Thank you so much for the $10 on Venmo. I see you attached a message there. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up and read it after my debate with Sarah. W Tara in the comment section for the $10 on Venmo. And Garrett, thank you for the $25 on Venmo. Let's get a W, Garrett, in the comment section. Garrett says, keep it up, Dean. Thank you so much for the love, Garrett. Massive W Taras and massive W Garretts in the chat. You guys are showing so much love today. I appreciate y'all so much. I apologize, Sarah. How old are you?
No, you're good. You're good. I was asking in the chat, is it ops only? Because I'm not.
Oh, yeah, it is ops only. Hey, I appreciate you for coming up, Sarah.
Of course. Bye.
Have a good one. Bye-bye. All right, we're going to go and load in our next guest. But while we do, we're going to go and read this message from Tara. She says, I'm advocating for SA victims of the Shambhala Center and Naropa University in Boulder, Colorado. And I'm interested if you have any advice or connections in the town for activist work. I love what you do. Tara, I live in Boulder. I don't have any connections in Boulder for activist work apart from myself. But that's awesome. You should let me know what date and time. What's up? How old are you?
Hello, I'm 19.
Perfect. Do you think that it is wrong to be lesbian?
No, I feel like for me, I am a lesbian.
Awesome. I appreciate you so much for coming up. However, we only are looking to talk to people that disagree. Alrighty, Dean, you live in Boulder. I sure do. I'm not in Boulder right now, but I do, like, that's where my residence is. Hi, how old are you? All right, Sias isn't here. Moving on to our next guest. Let's go and see what our next guest has to say. I kicked her. No, we love her though. All right, moving on. Moving on. Hey, what's going on? How are you?
18.
Perfect. Do you think that being a lesbian is wrong?
Yeah.
Awesome. Why so? You sound very unsure, or almost like you don't have any reason to believe, though. Are you just like ignorant? Are you just like prejudiced? You act with like no good reason to believe that. Why is it wrong?
You didn't serve your time in Nam.
Because I didn't serve my time in Nam?
Damn right.
Okay. I every so often there comes a guest that I have no fucking clue on how to respond to. Not one. Good day, sir. Moving on to our next guest. All right, let's go and see what Isaiah has to say here. Hi, how old are you, Isaiah?
I am 19.
Nice. Do you think that being a lesbian is wrong?
I do not, but I was wondering if I could just make a quick point here.
Feel free to make a point in my Discord. The join code is Dean. However, we are just looking for debates with people that disagree. Moving on to our next guest here, chat. We are really only looking to talk to people that disagree. Let's see if we can get Martin Jones up in here. Hey, what's up, Martin? Do you think that being a lesbian is wrong?
Yeah, I think it's wrong.
All right, why so?
Because it's not moral. Like they can't make babies.
Okay, yeah. Can you make a baby with an infertile woman, Martin?
I mean, not all women are infertile. They're made to be fertile. You understand what I mean?
So not all women are lesbian, and women that are lesbian were made to be lesbian, and women that are infertile were made to be infertile. Yeah.
I disagree with that, man.
Okay, so if they were not made to be infertile, then why are they infertile?
Because they got something wrong with them.
So you just can't say it's wrong because they would account for a minority. This is very harmful rhetoric that seems to have been used all throughout history. This is the same thing that people would say about black people during like Emancipation era slavery and like the aftermath of such. They'd say that it was like some medical defunct, which we now know is false.
What got to do with this?
It's a conceptual analogy to show you just because there's this just because there may be like certain conditions of the human experience that account for a minority of individuals, it doesn't necessitate that there's some defunct or something wrong with them. Do you understand what I say here? Women that are infertile were supposed to be infertile. I don't know how to explain it any further.
I mean, women that are infertile are supposed to be infertile.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think they're supposed to be infertile though.
Do you think that lesbian women are supposed to be lesbian?
I think it's like a defect.
Oh, it's a defect. Go ahead and name one institution of medicine and science that agrees with you.
University of Mobile, Alabama.
So you don't have one. I'm guessing you were just capping out of your ass. So the World Health Organization, the American Psychiatric Association, the American Medical Association, the Endocrine Society, the British Psychological Society, the Royal College of Psychiatrists, the Canadian Psychological Association, the Australian Psychological Society, the European Society for Sexual Medicine, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Academy of Family Physicians, the American Counseling Association, the American Public Health Association, the Netherlands Institute for Brain Research, the Center for Neurodoctrine Studies at the University of Pittsburgh, Massachusetts, as well as the Center for Neurochronology at UCLA, all vehemently, speak out against these claims and disprove it with facts, science, all of that. Like, honestly, the only people who make the claim that it's a type of defect are like usually like Uber drivers or McDonald's like drive-through workers.
I don't work at either of those places.
But I'm guessing you don't work at an institution of medicine, and you did not go to.
Like I
school
said,
for
I work
MD.
at the University of Mobile, Alabama.
Okay, and what do you do?
I'm a bio teacher.
Okay, yeah, really? Hey, how many years did you have to go to school to become a bio teacher?
Become a bio teacher, I had to go 6 years.
Okay, no, yeah, in order to become a bio teacher, it would require a PhD in biology, which would typically take between like 8, 10, or 12.
Well, listen, I got most of my credits done in high school.
Dude, all right, get out of my life. We're gonna go to move on to our next guest. Let's go and see what our next guest has to say. Let's get credits done in high school. That was fucking crazy. That was insane. All right. What's up? How old are you? Okay, Cashier not here. We're going to go ahead and move on to our next guest. Let's go to see what the Nicki Minaj has to say. PhD credits in high school is fucking absurd. Y'all, we're going to go ahead and do a quick engagement boost on the live. I want to try to break that 2K point. So just spam a smiley face if you're enjoying the debate so far, a sad face if you're not. Then also here, if you do want to support me, my Venmo as well as my Cash App are in the bio, y'all. But without further ado, we are going to go to move on to our next guest, Eric Blanks, at this point. Make sure we are in those guest requests that we do indeed think it is wrong to be a lesbian. Ladies and gentlemen.
Without further ado, we are going to move on to...
Hello, Mr. Eric. Do you think that being a lesbian is wrong?
Yo, you hear me? Don't just kick me.
Do.
My thing lagging.
It is lagging pretty bad.
My phone lagging a little bit, but do you hear me?
I gotta kick you because of that lag, brother. I'm in the basement. Oh, brother, I still hear him. He's lagging so bad. Eric, re-request when you're outside. I'll let you back up. Moving on. What's up? How old are you? Guys, start spamming FYP in that chat. All right, this guy does not want to tell us how old he is. Moving on to our next guest here. Let's go and talk to Eve and Reeler. Go ahead and see what they have to say. He on that McDonald Wi-Fi. He was just in the basement. What's up, Jade? How old are you?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to click it.
No worries. Moving on to our next guest here. Let's go ahead and see what our next guest has to say. Brooke, loading up here. Loading up. Brooke is loading up. Ladies and gentlemen, Brooke is... Hi, Brooke. How old are you? All right. I'll guess. Stage fright? Stage fright in the comment section. All right. Moving on to Christina. Everyone give us a minute. Alrighty, Ted. They didn't load in. Bro, what is going on with the guest requests? I swear to gosh. My guest requests are always so strange. Moving on to Andrew here. Everyone give him a minute to load in. Hey, Andrew. How old are you? Andrew, you're not mysterious. Okay. All right. He just left. Bro, please. All right. Moving on to our next guest. Definitely not said that they've been waiting 40 minutes to join. Awesome. I got you pulling up next.
Definitely not said that they've been waiting 40 minutes to join. Awesome. I got you pulling up next.
Hey. So, hey, definitely not. You've been waiting 40 minutes, so I'm going to be patient with you. You got an echo. Usually I just kick people for this, but I'm actually going to try to fix it with you. Swipe out of the app. Don't leave the live, and then go back into the app. So leave the TikTok app. There you go. There you go. All right, now we're talking. Let's see if that worked. If you still have the echo, I will unfortunately have to remove you. Go ahead and unmute that mic. Unmute that mic. Unmute that mic. Ladies and gentlemen, she cannot. There we go.
Sorry. I'm new here.
There we go. We are good now. Do you think that being a lesbian is wrong, ma'am?
So I would say like yes and no. Please don't kick me immediately. But like if you're gonna have like a moral conversation about it, like do I morally and ethically think it's wrong? No, because I think it's like a apples and oranges.
Ma'am, I'm so sorry. I understand that you waited 40 minutes and you didn't want me to kick you. However, we are only talking to individuals that do indeed think that being a lesbian is morally wrong. I'm so sorry.
32.
I feel so bad. Eric, you've been trying to get up in this damn live. No, it's still lagging.
Thank you. I'm 32.
No, it's still lagging.
Hold on. Can you hear me? Can you hear me pretty good?
You
You don't hear me at all?
We'll
I
give it a
hear
chance,
you.
Eric. We'll give it a shot, Eric. Do you think that being a lesbian is
All
wrong?
right, do you hear me?
You're good.
Yes.
Now. All right. Why so?
You ever heard of the tree of life?
What is the tree of life and how is
Independence.
it relevant?
Listen, this is how it's relevant. When we go out, we say, figure out what your independence is. Some people, independence was the garden. Now, if he or she was gay, they don't bring none of the business.
Say lesbian. Don't say GAY.
My bad. I'm
Just
sorry,
say
G.
lesbian.
I'm sorry. If he or she was to go against the person who opened up this business, and because they don't want to pay a tenth, about 3 billion people play. If they all gave $1, that person $3 billion up. You know, like popping a blue pill or a chew, they'll go pay that. But they wouldn't want to go talk to the guy who I'm talking with. You see what I'm saying? So
yeah. Hey,
me out.
Jared,
So
I
now,
appreciate you for the $5 on Venmo.
Hold on, hear me out, G. So if he or she would be to go against the rule, they would be to themselves. Like for instance, if she had to wait on somebody like me to let you get into her, or you had to wait on me to let her come to you, y'all would both turn to each other instead of listening to me. You know what I mean? Like she would turn to herself, knowing it ain't right. He would turn to himself, knowing it ain't right, just because you don't want to listen to that one right there. So now that one going through poverty, waiting for, y'all to follow suit, but y'all following against suit because y'all trying to prove something else to be wrong. Do you get what I'm saying?
Eric, no, what if she didn't follow in suit and instead of turning me to me, she turned to them, right? And then went to the store. Yeah, we got that, right? But then it didn't follow in suit.
What I'm saying, basically what I'm saying is this: you don't like a thief, right? You don't like somebody betraying you.
Nope.
Lesbianism is like betraying what was supposed to be. Because if you knew I was a Mac,
you actually made a point. Good job, Eric.
If you knew I was a Mac, and you knew I get my ends out of y'all
So,
two
okay,
meeting
can you go ahead and
together
tell me how,
coming back to me.
okay, go ahead and oh my God, Renee! Thank you for the $75 on Venmo. Let's go. W Renee in the comment section for the $75 on Venmo. I'm going to go ahead and read out her message. Eric, I'm so sorry. Goodbye. I'm going to go ahead and read out Renee's message here, y'all. Everyone, let's listen up. Thank you so much. W Renee in the comment section all day, every day. $75. That is a shit ton of money, and I'm absolutely so thankful for it. You're crazy. Thank you so much, Renee. She says, thank you for all that you do for women. I was born in 1962, and most of my jobs until recently, when talking to men in the workplace, I may as well be burping and farting as talking. Very frustrating. I was not hired to get your coffee. Renee, I mean, the systemic oppression of women, especially in the workforce, has always been bad, and especially even now, dude. I appreciate you so much for the love. And yeah, I mean, you are absolutely right. This isn't just a topic that I'm running to, combat, prejudice against the LGBTQ plus community, but I mean, women as well. And that's why intersectionality is so important, guys. Intersectionality is so important because there are so many systemic issues that exist not only in the world but in our countries, not only in our country but in the world as a whole. So I appreciate you so much for your love, Renee. We're gonna go to move on to our next guest here. You know what? Honestly, we're gonna hit a restart because we're not getting anyone new in here, and I wanted to hear you out. You said it's not morally wrong, but it's wrong in some other sense. Take it away.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and condemn lesbians because I think that's ridiculous. But and I'm not going to hit the God argument because the Bible truly doesn't say anything about it. So I'm not going to hit you in that way. But, I have some literature that I could pull up that I think that the reason why lesbianism or other homosexuality is bad.
It's not a lesbianism, not a word. It's like lesbian.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Being a lesbian or being heterosexual or being homosexual, I think is wrong in other ways.
Use the word lesbian. Don't use the word homosexual. Probably get us flagged here. But
Okay.
yeah, I when you use the word ism associated with that, it seems like it's a belief or an ideology. No, it's just
the practice of being lesbian.
Is straightism the practice of being straight?
In my opinion, yes.
Okay.
But
so,
here, let me make some points. So,
did I engage in straightism when I had sex with my girlfriend the other day?
In my opinion, yes, but we can get into syntax later.
So crazy. Okay. All right. So tell me why you think it's wrong.
So there is a lot of studies and a lot of literature to suggest that there are negative effects of lesbian couples. They have the highest divorce rates. They have higher rates of domestic abuse than straight counterparts. There's a lot of studies to suggest that children who grow up in those homes have a harder time in marriages later in life. They have a harder time with other social relationships. They do worse in school. I think personally that, there's a reason why male and female exists in the way that, I think it's silly to say that necessarily that a woman's only purpose is to procreate, because obviously things can go wrong, or women might never actually get that
Yeah,
chance.
hey, definitely. You'd have a good argument if the things that you're saying were true, but they're just untrue. Okay.
No, they are true. I can pull up literature.
No, about specifically about the child outcomes of children. You are dead wrong about that.
Well, I can
specifically
pull up studies that say otherwise.
Okay, pull them up.
Okay, give me.
I mean, she was just saying false things. And the DV thing as well, that's also not true. Edith, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure those statistics are reported on the basis of lesbians' past relationship with a male. I think I had heard that from Amy. But even if it was to be true that there's higher rates of DV amongst lesbian relationships, okay, who commits 95% of the violent crimes, irrelevant. So, by the way, guess we cannot hear you when you're unpaused. So, just read the name of the study, remember it, and then say it out loud. But I mean, while we're waiting, what she's saying is misinformation. So I'll actually give one specifically about school. So that's awesome. So there is a paper called Non-Traditional Families and Childhood Progress Through School, a comment in Rosenfield. This was a study published in Demography in 2012. And this basically goes over how the outcomes of children in school is not affected by the sexual orientation of their parents. This is also supported by a study by the name of Lesbian and Gay Parents in Early Childhood Settings, a systemic review of the research literature. This was published in Journal of Early Childhood Research by J. Smith, A. Hedge, and P. Everett, which also disproves her claims. We could also look at Does Parental Sexual Orientation Matter? A longitudinal follow-up of adopted families with school-aged children, published in Developmental Psychology by R.H. Farr in 2017, which also disproves her claims, but she said she had literature from me.
I do, but I was...
Okay, we cannot hear you right now. If you can't see me, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
When you leave the TikTok app, I can't hear you.
Oh, is that how that works? Well, then I can't pull up. It's on my phone. Then I can't pull it up. But you can look up from the National Institute of Health. There's tons and tons of studies about it.
Yeah. So give me the name of one. Rock and roll McDonald's.
The literature that I have pulled up cites about.
Can you give me the name of
20 different studies?
So then, okay, you have 20 studies to choose between. Give me one.
Well, then it's in an article of all these different studies where they are also cited. So I can't.
Okay, so give me the name of the citation.
Allen.
Okay, remember, we can't hear you when you're on pause.
I know, but
all you have to
see the problem
all you have to do, all you have to do. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and demonstrate this to you. Go to your study. Okay. Find the citation, remember the name of the paper and the author, just remember that, and then come back to the live and give it to me. I'm starting to believe that you don't have a study and you're just lying.
Well, I can send you the link to the page where all of these studies are listed by the National Institute of Health.
Just give me the name of one study. Studies have authors and titles, so give me the title and give me the author. Her straightism is not working. Her straightism is not working out. Straightism brain.
DW on the childhood Allen.w.
Hey, come back to the live. Hey, I have a question. So you're naming D.W. Allen. Does this happen to be a paper called Non-Traditional Families and Childhood Progress Throughout School?
Yep.
Yeah, this is a paper that actually demonstrates that there is no differences in the outcomes of children.
No, it doesn't. It states that children of lesbian couples are 65% more likely to drop out of high school.
No.
Yes.
I'll go ahead and read it off to you. Let's go ahead and let's go ahead and look at this. It says that they're 1% less likely. The difference is statistically significant at the 1% level. Oh, she left. Hey, come back. Hey, come back. I mean, I was just gonna make my next point. I was honestly just gonna grant that to her. I was just gonna be like, okay, let's just assume that they have worse child outcomes in school. We also see that families from lower socioeconomic standings have worse child outcomes in school. Does that mean that it's morally wrong to be low class? Like, there's just so many ways to attack this, but I definitely do think that, those claims are just rudimentary and bad and poor and shit and untrue. Someone in the chat said she won. I want to get you up here, Oogla, or like anyone. Kate, I saw your edits of me and Parker. They were awesome. Morpheus, join up. Well, I actually want to hear someone rationalize this. Morpheus, please join up. You have enough followers. You're watching the live. I invited you to join. I got to know how these people rationalize it. Okay, now people are just starting to say it in the chat for no reason. Unfortunate. Oh, the world will never know. Oh, wait, she did what? No one has enough followers! Okay. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and restart my stream here. But while I'm restarting, I'm going to go ahead and heat up a piece of pizza. I'm kind of hungry, as well as I'm going to use the bathroom. I will see you all momentarily, unless this person loads up. Oh, wait, they do. I want to see how their brain works real quick. Hi, I want to know how your brain works. You said in the chat that...
Yeah, hello?
You said in the chat that she won. I just want to see how your brain works.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, how could you possibly come to that conclusion?
Okay, can I talk?
Yeah, how can your brain come to that conclusion? She gave a source, and they left. Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and restart. I'll see y'all back here in about 5 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Love you all. Love you all. I'm going to go pee and get some food. See you in 5 minutes. Bye-bye.